Hello, everyone, and welcome to another World of Sasquatch. Today's episode is being filmed on 1/9/25. We're here with Brian Singh and Mike from Long Island Bigfoot tonight. Back here in the interview or question answer seat tonight with the forest people yet again. So before we get into anything, we always start off our show with the Law of One. Joanne?
We are all,
Uh,
as
sorry, and I
one
got
is
that
harmed,
too.
all are harmed. When one is helped, all are helped. Therefore, in the name of who I am, and I am one with all there is, that only the highest good be done. We pray for you, your friends, your family, your loved ones, to let healing energies in. Let them love you, let them nourish you, and let them bring you to your highest good. We pray now for benevolence to come in with no conflicting agenda, be it people watching, be it the galactics, be it other races that we share this earth with, be it departed loved ones, to come in now and to support this conversation in peace and in benevolence so that it may be had and people can listen and take from it what best serves them. We ask now for malevolent and mischievous beings to be swept away in order for this conversation to be had in peace and great understanding. And with that, and with always the best and greatest blessings that we always send your way, we say, so be it.
So be it. Today, I know the forest people wanted to talk a little bit about that mysterious fog that's been going around. I know that was one thing they wanted to touch on. Anything else is up in the air. So, yes, Isaac, no pun intended. Thank you. All right. Let's see. Oh, yeah. The forest person that I had communicate with me. This was during someone's session, actually a couple sessions. There were two different ones. The next time we do this, it's probably going to be the next one that I encountered. But the one after this, it was a female Sasquatch that I encountered. It's very rare I encounter female ones. Very very rare. They tend to hang in the background. But this next one, he said he was from the Massachusetts, up by the border of Massachusetts and Maine, and up in that area. He called himself Makwa, and he said he was from that area, or he was born in that area. I believe he said he was like 200 or something. He was fairly young. He said for his kind. So we're starting to get some of the younger ones, and eventually we'll probably hit. That's my theory anyway. We'll probably hit some of the younger ones, like some of the adolescent crowd at some point too, just to get their perspective. Okay, let's see. Michael, okay, you're welcome to step in here. Despite what happened earlier, again, like the previous show, we had some major interruptions beforehand that were pretty gnarly. Sometimes we were making a point before recording that sometimes if you plan things too far ahead, it tends to be able to snare it if it's too far ahead. And cause problems leading up to it. Makwa? Ah, yes, I'll describe it to you. You look like he's a tall, darker Sasquatch with kind of gray highlights. He has this look here of this one here. Only this one's red, and but only the black, but with like gray highlights around the eyes and around the hair. Like I have the color of my beard here. He's got around here. Yes. Yes, I see you have a goatee. He has like a goat, billy goat thing going on. Yeah, I know. All right. Isaac had to point out he looked like a goat. Okay, so all right. Uh, all right. Makwa, give me a second. All right. A little faster than that, Makwa. Yes, I am Makwa. My tribe lives near what you would call the border of Massachusetts and Maine, in that forested area, in that region. That is our ancestral home. That is our place that we have congregated. I myself have been around since the time just after your Revolutionary War. And as you've heard, Fuma has been around roughly since the time of Jamestown. He was a child then. I myself also have a elder tribesman or grandfather who is the head of our tribe, who's been around since the times of Atlantis. So that's usually how the pecking order, you would say, goes. You'll be hearing, as he said, from some of the younger and younger. Not some of the too young ones. Some of them tend to be what you say retarded. So I won't actually.
Oh, you have millennials too.
Yes, yes, millennials and Gen Zs. Yes. We have this. Yes.
No offense. Sorry to all our millennial listeners. It's a bash. Sorry about that.
Yes. We understand, and hopefully your audience does as well. That is fine. But we have the same, where we have the Gen Zers that are kind of, how would you say, akin to some of your more offended crowd, let's say, but not many of them. There are a few. I'm not saying a lot of them. I just kid. But because I know some are actually, my tribe are actually listening to me speak at this moment in time. So with this said, I will go into what I actually was commenting on during the session he had a few days ago. This was about the fog that you heard about. There is actually, you've heard of also, of course, your chemtrailing. This was essentially the same thing, but far more potent. This is actually the way that if you wanted to receive a form of an inoculation, give me just a moment. Dang it. Hang on, I gotta slip back into it. My phone started buzzing. Yes, sorry. Interruptions in the environment. Excuse. What I was saying was, if you wanted to get a form of an inoculation, this is how this would be done on other worlds. But this is not what the usage of this was. This was more of a nefarious mind control usage. This is why people started getting sick. This is why people started getting, of course, ill, sick, and also cloudy-minded, like you would feel drunkard. This is the reason why this was done. This was think of how the chemtrails are in your skies, but on the ground. And this was people started seeing this fog rolling in. What they did was they allowed the jet currents, you call them the jet stream or jet currents, to carry this fog how it will. But they started in places on your ground level. And they created the conditions by which then your electronics would carry the current towards your populated areas. Very much like if you put something toxic upstream and then downstream others would get sick who drank the water. This is essentially how they've done it. They try to find the path of least resistance to cause the most damage you see. And this is, I say they, but this is a particular couple set of factions that had planned this particular deed out, and also the subsequent fires that you've also been speaking about as well. This was done with from above weaponry and also spread on the ground via someone starting it on the ground. They have spoken this on their lifting shows, but I will give a brief synopsis. They did this with your Australian fire as well back in 2020, whereas a bit of a fire is started, like a small one, and they can take it and build it, and like fanning the flames, they can literally with a cursor on a monitor can paint it essentially like you're painting in Photoshop or some paint program, very much to show how the weather would then move the flames. This is essentially how it was with a block of or a grid area there in your state of California. They compact these things next to one another, so therefore you suffer the most distractive visuals. And for energies, they hope that the people create the chaotic energies. The broadcast recently about your fire has drawn in a lot of the interloping crowd. The gas, or we'll just call it the gas, were put down there originally to make people more malleable to more violent and or fearful broadcasts on your television. So if you combine visual, words, and gas and mental manipulation all in one like that, you tend to create the most chaos. Now, why are my people bringing this up? Because this affects us too. So this affects us. Even if we get down to the lowest rock strata, you can still smell some of the toxins. It doesn't always affect us, mind you, and we can get also some of us are in other frequencies, so we don't get jolted by it. But some of us, like myself, I know us being younger doesn't mean that I can't go into other frequencies, mind you. It just means that I'm also affected by some of the chemicals in the environment, and you will find that other forest people are as well. So I will go into questions if you like now.
So the one thing you didn't answer, because I think everyone is asking regarding the current situation in California and the fires, is why? Why was this all? Why is, I mean, it happens over and over again, these natural disasters, let's say, but there's a why behind that. And I think a lot of people are asking that who feel that there was something else going on. What's your perspective on that? Yes,
the question is why. And from our perspective, we see that on occasion it is not only to distract you, because if you see a lot of violence in front of you, you're not going to be able to connect to spirit. You're not going to be able to connect to benevolent source creator. You're not going to be able to completely connect because you cannot find the Anhalam, the calm. In this, so they completely cause one tragedy after another. Also, as he says, cocking up the energies. With that, then on top of this, the why is to distract you from other things that may be going on in the area by which they are assaulting. Say in your state of California, also some of your news programs have reported the whole pedophilia thing going under all these other things. Yes, that part of that's a cover story. Part of it is actually very true. Not necessarily with the characters that you've heard about it, but there was a much larger, also overarching reason. Your Kabbalist sects have given swaths of land away to particular beings. They have noticed that even from your COVID time on, people were not falling for the whole culling. They were not wanting culling. Too many people, in their opinion, were putting co-creative energies towards that not happening. So what they do? They force the issue. They force people out of an area and they give it to someone else. They are also going after our own people as well with that, because burning forest areas, burning nature, in some instances, they are going after my people. They're trying to keep us away from communicating with yourselves. We are not the only reason this happens. We just happen to be a reason that they've checkmarked a box off on a list somewhere. And also other beings that were in there, they figure also hurting both people and animals would get people scared. No, this is actually begun to unite people under a different banner, you see, more of a unified banner. Even though this is a distraction, it is a painful and deadly one. But just know that when they clear out whole areas like they did in California, it's not necessarily because somebody's burning the evidence down for the pedophilia ring, even though that is part of it. There is part of that there. The bigger reason is they are trying to literally remove people from a whole big area of land, a grid, and they are wanting to move other people, things, and equipment into those areas. As you noticed, did you notice that some buildings were left unscathed? And I'm not saying this for all of them. There are some people that just felt they wanted to protect their property enough to where they did with their energies. Some other buildings had things in them that you will eventually see things grow around them, like normal city streets, normal industry, and normal looking areas. But inside those, they wanted to expand something of a business or something of some corporate project that they wouldn't have normally been able to get done with a bunch of people in that neighborhood. They needed it in a particular area, grid area, somewhere in that zone where other beings would live, you see. So they needed it close. This is the only other reason we know of thus far.
And we've had these conversations before, because it's not just there. Same things have happened in spots of Arizona. Same things have happened now in North Carolina, where you have this purging of the land for other reasons that people can't even comprehend. Some of these reasons, especially when you're dealing with the ones that, again, there are other races on this planet that certain negotiations occurred, that they're literally going to be moving into town, and people are being cleared out for that. And it's very difficult for people to understand. I was speaking today regarding, and you just briefly brought it up, so I'm going to bring it up a little bit more, regarding the collective energies, and especially collective feelings that, human beings do have. Because the one thing that happened, I think it's also happened during the assassination attempt of Trump, when a person was assassinated that day. But you have this buildup of clash of energies. So for the thing about, again, in California as well, and I don't know if this was part of the strategy, because you're talking about the pedophilia rings. So the strategy is to get the collective consciousness to also be mad and angry. You have people that are considered elitist there that were living on the coast, where everyone would have been happy to see all their homes burned down. So, I think the one thing that, I do want you to comment on, because I think for people who are in a place where they understand that these types of energies build and collect, and how they're released, and how they're going to backfire in one area, as you alluded to as well. Because, people aren't sad that all of the homes that were built so you couldn't see the water, all the rich people, a lot of people are like, good, I'm glad. But what really has happened is the vast majority of not rich people, the people that are poor, the people that only reason they're still there is they had generational homes or things like that, are now being, the totality of it.
Lahaina in Maui is a wonderful example of what you're speaking to there, Joanna, where that is world-class prime desired property with, in that case, native peoples there who are been there, but then they're sandwiched in amongst all the boutique stuff coming in, and then burning them out now clears the way.
As I said, making room for new residents, not all of them human.
Exactly. And I think one of the things is, again, there was such anger building, anger against, let's say, elitist, anger against unfairness, anger against Hollywood, anger against the whole whatever's going on, behind the scenes with the P. Diddy and all of that stuff. All of this anger that was building amongst regular people. And how are you going to also deal with that energy that somehow has got to go somewhere? Energy has to go somewhere. And, so my thought was is somehow that energy was also used or being used.
Yes.
And so if you can speak to that, and then I want to speak one more time about what I feel is the backfire of all that.
Yes, you are correct, Joanna. Through also your binary network, you call it, the amplification of thoughts. Think of psionic dampening as what was said previously in other recordings. I'll sum up where you call it the dummening. I know our people nicknamed it the dummening, after the little Happening movie where the trees were killing everybody, but only in this case, the nickname stuck because it made people stupid. In this, the reverse of dummening would be psionic amplification. In this case, if you think a thought, and say if you had an amplifier nearby, and you could set a dial for it times 3, times 5, times 10, times 20, times a bajillion, a million, you could do this. Yes, Isaac, I know it is times Google. I understand. I know. Computers, California, I understand the joke. But anyway, in this, because that's a number. So in this, think of a dial that could be dialed up with your psionic capabilities. They even showed this in your Doctor Who program, by which the master used these spheres to amplify people's psionic field, or didn't realize that that's what would happen when he was using it to dampen everybody, and the doctor flips it around to cause an amplification. That is 100% true in its depiction, where they used it to heal the doctor and defeat the master. In this, the amplification with people's thoughts, where do you think it's arcing through? What do you think could be hearing you in your thoughts? Artificial intelligence. Where is it? It's within the very devices you keep in your house. I'm not saying your devices hear every single word or thought. No, I do not wish to make people paranoid or in fear. But there are key things that it wants to amplify, one of which is rage. This is, even though you are supposed to be mad about some things, and sad about things, and happy about things, there is a time where then, when that AI, the same one that you see working on Facebook, that also places the ads on Facebook that you think, this is a form of psionic, not necessarily just amplification, but it reaches into your mind and actually takes out an image that, or a thought of something that you're thinking, and then reflects it back at you. And people think it's a magic trick. Like he said, he saw a person post, there was under this model, or it was like some sex toy or something. And this person goes, I just dreamt of this person. This is creepy. It should be creepy because that person just appeared in the dream because of the AI intrusion. This is the same technology. Whereas, as you amplify, as this amplifies your thoughts, times that by a million people. Let's just use that number. Or even 10,000 or 100,000. What does this look like? And if this many people are mad at one particular area, it is very much easier for them to commit the crime, or your Kabbalists, or these factions to commit the crime of mass destruction like this, especially if they've stoked the fires previously. Think about if you add an accelerant to a flame, and that flame is already burning.
Well, we can see the example of the Hollywood sign on fire, and I don't see many people crying about that. I could see psionic energy being like a kind of a psychic smirk, and this is no offense to the people of that area. And I lived in LA myself for 7 years, so it's more the symbol of Hollywood or Hollywood, that legacy burning up in smoke. Nobody's going to miss that in particular.
Yes, exactly. But also think about your political arguments. Where do people think that the woke mostly hang out? That would be your New York and California, primarily. What do people get fed to on the news, that is where all the people that they should now dislike or be disgusted with or hate live? Right there. Now, that is the fire being built. What stokes these flames? What adds to it? An accelerant. What is that accelerant? The psionic amplification. And you take that amplification and aim it, and they can aim it at a particular place, even though the people were aiming their thoughts. And yes, justifiably so in some areas, thinking because of the whole pedophilia thing going on. Yes, you should be angry about that. And the whole controversy with Hollywood or Hollywood. But everywhere, think about this. You have the amplifier, and you have one of those oscillating fans. And you have the person plugging it into the wall. And the fan begins to blow. What happens? It goes all over the room versus where you just plugged it in from. The power source would be you, and it is being amplified, not only through psionic dampening, making the person more in the reptilian brain, but psionic amplification, meaning that then it's aimed in a particular way and is more explosive. Every single person, just like Vulcans in Star Trek are capable of mind melds, everyone, all of them, they find out in the show, all of them are capable of it, and some are more outcast, very much like your psychic community. Some people are outcast and made fun of and shunned and ridiculed. They showed that in Trek. Every Vulcan capable of mind meld in the end, every human capable of psionics. It's not just particular lineages, even though you can build it up within the lineages and pass it on to your children. This is what happened. This was the ultimate focus. It was a piece of the puzzle, not the entire thing. But the fires were stoked earlier on by trying to get people to fight. They tried to get people to engage in civil war-like activities. When this doesn't work, when people get to more unified, as they were just starting to, they start to throw one negative thing after another with mind control. So all people remember are those negative instances. For years to come, they will remember something like COVID. They will remember something like your Australia fires. They will remember something like this. Now, so this is the idea. They want these things to stick in people's craw for generations and then raise a group of people that are both slightly dumber and slightly more hateful of one another, if this makes sense.
It does. It makes perfect sense. And I think one of the things, again, we just want to be able to raise awareness with these conversations is the fact that whether or not you realize you have these abilities, we're telling you, you have these abilities.
Every person does.
Every person does. And so thoughts are things. We keep, thoughts are things. Again, it's okay to have the swing of emotion. It's appropriate. It's when you get stuck there that it has an opportunity to really fester and start to manifest itself in one way. So just like with this instance, you have the ability to start something out of control. With awareness, you have the ability to now bring it back in control. Mm-hmm. And I think one of the things where I say, and I agree with you, in the end, this is going to just massively backfire. Mm-hmm. Because the one thing that isn't thought about, just like what happened after, the attempted assassination, is that the energies drastically changed. People realized, what was I thinking? Did I really want to see someone? Was I really that angry? Because what first happened is that energy went away. So that energy that you were putting out was dealt with, was taken away, and was, a head-on collision with those energies. So the energies kind of withdraw for a lot of people. And then it's like, what was just going on? No, this is not what I want. And more reasonable, and the opportunity for a person to actually then become themselves, which for most people is a good, caring person, not wanting to see these extremes, comes out more. And so for this, having this conversation in this timely manner to try to get out there to say your thoughts are things. It's one thing to think of the fact that, maybe 10,000 elitists had their home burned down, and the fact of the matter is they have the money to rebuild off a dime. It's another thing to think for your happiness for that, another 100,000 regular people, plus all the innocent animals, right? Plus all the innocent animals. Is it worth the 10,000 that you were happy to see burn down? Is it worth the collateral damage of all the regular people that this happened to? And I hope and pray that people say, no, it really wasn't, and come back to their senses and say, what do you want now? Well, what I hope you want is, no matter what political side you're on, you want to see your fellow countrymen be safe. You want to see them be able to feel security. You want them to be able to feel loved by their fellow countrymen. You want, maybe money's not going elsewhere in the world, and we're going to close down, and we're now going to take care of our own. Not only the own in the California, but you're going to give pause for thought. We probably should be still caring about the ones in North Carolina or whatever. So the backfiring in me, once this energy, this massive energy is released, many people are going to have a, what was I thinking kind of moment, right? And an opportunity to grow a little bit And then again, what do you do to deal with it? You need to go forward, and you need to see these people will get the help they need. They will be, feel like they are cared for by their fellow Americans. They will have shelter. Their children will be able to go to school and be, productive. They will be able to rebuild their lives. And I can look down the road and I can see new neighborhoods. I can see happiness. I can see life and good things again, because I actually want that for all of us. And if you can change your mindset to understand that is what winning looks like. Some people think winning in things is always about the revenge, is always about them getting there. But the collateral and what it does to regular people, it's really not. The winning is moving ahead. The winning is the being able to co-create, as we've always said for years. You have to learn to co-create in a way that is best for you and not best for others. And what we have been talking about today is how they use your energies to help co-create something for themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. What do you want your country or world to look like? What do you want it to be able to move on from? I'm not saying accept these bad things and constantly turning the other cheek. No, we do not even do this. We fight for what we believe, but we also help your people co-create in a better way. There's been some minor interruptions here from rival groups because of the topic content. He thought there was a mad forest person here, when in fact this was not a forest person. This was a reptilian form, but that was intruding on the space. But yes, these are also some of the groups that don't want some of this talked about because of the various reasons you just said. Because they want everyone, one side winning and another side losing. In some cases, yes, that you want to, like, say, our people versus that of the ones that poison us, or those that actually eat our young, like they know the aquatic Draco and them. No, you don't want them winning, of course not. And some things can't be, you can't have inclusivity of, let's just put that way. Some types of reptilian, yes, like dragons, of course. But in this, or benevolent ones anyway, but in this, you must understand there are a multitude of layers of psyops that you have been spoon-fed for decades now regarding these very topics of things that are actually going on, but in the midst of them telling you what is going on, they're hoping that you yourselves go overboard and go after the very people that are also being victimized by the same system. This is what he hoped. Was there a question?
No, apologies. No.
I can answer further questions, though.
Mike, I'd love to hear any questions you have, because we don't get to have you. I haven't gotten to be on with you much, so I'd love to hear what your questions are.
I'm just kind of listening, and I'm happy. I'm happy this is coming up because it's so accurate. I always talk to people about the watch the birdie scenario. Stop, don't pay attention to the distraction. Look at what's happening elsewhere, how can we combat that? It's very difficult, and then when, you talk about politics and you look at these things, you say, how could that person win? And it's because it has to go back and forth, because that helps create the divide, because there are people who think that they need to be on one side or the other, and it creates chaos, and it creates divide, and it creates non-unity. And, that's one thing that I love about the forest people, is how they are the biggest, baddest mofo, so to speak, right? But they are also the kindest, hardest, kind-hearted, loving, gentle teddy bear in a sense, right? They're warriors that know their peace, and that's something that they've told me that they respect about me. Is that I'm a warrior that knows my peace. And, they treat everything equally: a deer, a rock, a leaf, a tree, a human, a Sasquatch. We're all part of the collective and the oneness. And the more so that we find that and and become one. And like you were saying earlier, like just to see these things from that objective point and say, like, what was I thinking? And then we can combat it even in small ways, right? Look how many people there are, and if we were one, and these forces burn down a forest, if every one of us plants a tree, we can combat this, in simple ways. And I don't know if I have questions so much as I was just really enjoying hearing it, and it was bringing home a lot of like, it was like I was having these like moments of like, okay, cool, like we're on the same page. So
Mhm. Yes, you are correct. You've described it perfectly, Mike. Yes, we can be badasses when we want to be, but at the same time, we know when to create the calm. But it's very much like some of your Japanese warriors, where it was that calm, but at the same time, they knew when to defend. We've also interacted with a group called Untumba, or the Untumbans before, who are the proto-Japanese Asian groups. At some point, they may talk on these forums. Again, they rarely speak anymore on any of these forums. They are actually more ET oriented. They're the you'd say proto-Oriental, proto-Japanese, Chinese group that we've interacted with before that helped seed some of the planet in earlier days, like with some of our people. So we've worked closely with them in the past, and they would also say the same. There would be a code by which then you getting messed with, then there is a point of no return then for an enemy who will not stop or will not quit. It's different than if one is pecking at you and pinpricking you and trying to get a reaction. Those are two completely different concepts. All of you have experienced both. So with this said, are there any further questions or comments?
Yeah, I have a couple.
Hmm?
So there's a Dr. Robert Shipe in that area. I'm not sure it's Long Beach, but he's been noting for months on months, maybe years on end now, before this worldwide UFO and drone sighting phenomenon. He was reporting these orb-like craft flying in and out of the water down in that Los Angeles area. I'm wondering how much of this the fires in that area are also to distract at all from that, or is it more the land grab stuff and trying to terrorize people and hoping that they can harvest our loosh and get us to pick up our pitchforks and torches and misdirect our energies?
It's actually both, Brian. The orbs that we're seeing there, some of them are from underground, others are dimensional. Then a couple of those are some of the races that would be doing the land grabbing. You see, so there's a lot of races that use the orbital forms. People always attribute them to one species, but they are a piece of technology that has been widely traded. They're essentially like the TARDIS, where it's a dimension within a dimension or bigger on the inside. Your Greys use it. Some of our people use it. There's a multitude of species that use this. The same goes with your Greys. The little robotic Greys. Your Ibans made those available to a multitude of species that could trade for the schematics and had the supplies to create them in a factory or in a replication system. Your own military has some of these, for crying out loud. They are able to create them out of what would be considered lesser technology or what's available. You would know the difference from the Zeta type, which have the bigger heads with the crack in the center, like a butt, and then you have the ones with the more rounded head, which are the ones that your own military have cultivated, of like more of a plastic, like material, space shades, plastic. This is what you're seeing in California with some of the orbs that are being seen. Some of those are beings that are scouting out an area to look for mineral rights, look for territorial rights, and just overall want to be a pain in the ass. So this is essentially what's going on.
And these are gray races primarily who are scouting it. And then are they going to inhabit the area openly as gray races? Or are they going to try to do some kind of hybridization?
That's already going on. It's not just Greys. There are also some Nordic types doing this, and there are also some Some cat types, yes, too, but it's a multitude of different races. There's even a rodent type doing this as well. There's even a mole-looking one doing this as well from underground. Some of these races still exist dimensionally. Some look like otters, beavers, all these other types. But the ones that are doing this primarily are a couple of gray races. There's a reptilian and also a dark elf race that are arm wrestling back and forth. We got us that are caught in the middle, and then you have these other ones, like certain Nordic ones, that are actually vying for different land and mineral rights. You'll find that Earth is the wild, wild west, and whoever could plant their flag in a particular area, going mine, or put their sword down, a sword in the earth, very much like in your pioneer days, where a lot of the native land was taken from them. And what did they do next? They had a race to see who could grab land first and create their own estate. This is essentially what's taking place now. You will start to see in the coming months, and I do not like making predictions, but I do this based on a pattern. What you will more than likely see are them trying to rebuild, but restructure it differently, as I said before, and it will be more the shape of what some of those other races are influencing. We are attempting to sway this a little more, our people are, but our abilities to sway some of these other races are limited. We more or less are a voice in a choir at that point. So this is what I personally know.
And just to clarify that, because what has been said before, you can correct it if it's wrong now, is that some of these races, again, it's not that they planted, some of them, it's not that they planted their flag first, it's that agreements were made for technologies and whatever, and now their space is coming due.
Yes, and that's essentially because they planted their flag long ago with contracts. Your Kabbalist sects made these contracts via he calls it the Georgia Guidestone timeline that isn't coming to pass. That this version within your timelines of your Kabbalist types are in debt up to their eyeballs with this. And I'm not saying the Cabal is mysteriously going away and all this other stuff, like you hear some of the propaganda. No, what's happening is some of their debts are coming due, just like with you hear in your Doctor Strange, the bill always comes due. People said this is more, they were hinting more of like a karmic hammer dropping. In this case, they literally took out loans and made promises and contracts based upon some eggs that had not already hatched in their favor. Yet they were wanting a certain agenda to take place, which did not come to pass, but yet their people still wanted their pound of flesh. They still wanted that debt to be repaid. So with that said, they hurriedly along this path to burn out that area so that they could redivvy this up. I hope this actually described it well enough.
Well, then I have to ask, who's controlling the laser beams?
There's actually, this is quite interesting. They showed this loosely in your Kingsman movie, where you had your Samuel Jackson character had a bunch of satellites. He was a philanthropist type. There also, he makes a phone call in that to some other philanthropist type that owned another satellite. You're actually seeing that in progress now, a similar type of thing. That was more the binary network that was being shown there to get people to fight. But in this, the more, not necessarily exaggerated, but slightly exaggerated. But in this, the one hint that people missed was because there are other owners of these satellites. There's different military groups that own some of the territories in orbit too. Oh, this area, this group belongs to this, or owns this particular set of satellites, et cetera, et cetera. There's far more up there than you realize. And the laser beam ones, it just depends whose satellite is in that part of orbit at that particular time, who gets to actually strike that particular area. It's not just the military is doing this or the cabal is doing this.
It's rent a laser. So whoever's got the money and wants to point the laser in that direction and have a go with it, and unfortunately, no one's stopping them.
Yes, it's not that no one wants to. It's just that I'm not saying that they're almighty powerful. I'm just saying that sometimes there's beings with equal force that would love to get in there and just decimate that piece of technology. Love to. But there's sometimes that we ourselves cannot. There are other beings cannot, but would love to be able to do it. Now, like you said, rent the laser. That is actually one of the best phrases I've heard to describe the technology that is being passed around. It's essentially, think of it, your trips to space that people can pay $100,000 to $1 million to go to space, something like that. It's essentially the same thing. Whoever has the money to pay and whoever has the resources to divvy up or trade can basically rent the laser. That's essentially how it's set up.
Now, are there any white hat forces that are aware of this? And then are they going to attempt to counter this with technology? I mean, it'd be great if I, as a civilian, had like my own ground-based laser that could take out their space-based laser, but I don't, and no one in our community that I know has that capability. So
There are what you would call white hats, other factions that actually have an agenda more aligned with humanity's salvation and defense. There are those that do disrupt these things on a constant and regular basis. Your CERN, for instance, had a what you would call white hat faction that actually took over that spot. This was just before the Georgia Guidestones was destroyed. Yes, there was somebody seen planting an explosive there, but they also use that as a grounding device to ground an electromagnetic pulse there. Also a test on that weapon was also used on your George Floyd mural some months prior. Somebody was testing this out to see if it worked properly and used that as a gag. With this, this falls also into the rent the laser category, but not near as much as, say, some of the satellites. Now, there are white hat factions attempting to get into some of these different areas, and not in the militaristic way in which you are assuming that this works. It's more or less run by different philanthropists, different people. You have your Musks and your Bigelows that were more public, and your Bransons that are more public. Those are more the flashy show boys, let's just say. There are those in the background, though, that fund the different projects, have the different projects, and would gladly help people and gladly try to actually, it's basically playing the game of Monopoly. And basically buy out this person's hotel, get them to cross over Boardwalk and Park Place a number of times, or even go to jail and do not pass go, do not collect $200. This is essentially what is going on, where you're playing the game of Monopoly. It just happens to be that the factions that are in favor of some of these things currently, or at least some of them, are more or less ones you want there. The one that did that to California, no. It shifts like the wind. The lines on a map are constantly shifting. This is also why the ones you call the New Schwabenlanders or the Martian Germans haven't completely taken. They are the biggest of the factions, but they are also the ones that have their resources spread too thin. For the supposed master race, they don't have the ramparts and their castles very guarded all that well, I must say. The way you defeat them more is by laughing at them. I must say they are slightly stupid. Because they've segregated their genetics enough to where they get sick easily. And whatever they unleash, they get back times 100. So just as saying, that happens to be what you would call that karma, but at the same time, it's just pure arrogance and stupidity. Now, enough bashing for the moment. What I'm still trying to say to sum it up is these maps shift like the wind. If you want that wind to shift in your favor slightly more permanently, it is more a mass co-creation towards that change. And how you do that is exactly the opposite of what was done with the fire. You take that opposite polarity and you actually want that change, minus narratives, minus all these other factions vying for power, minus anything. If you want an actual alliance of white hats, you not only have to become that, you have to co-create that, if this actually answers the question.
Mhm.
yeah, the community or many communities came together in prayer, the Maharishi effect, mass quantum entanglement to knock Hurricane Milton down from I'm told from a category 5 to a 3 when it hit the Florida coastline, as opposed to Hurricane Helene, which pretty much took us all by surprise. I think went more unchecked and was we know the aftermath of that, of course.
Yes, this is exactly what happened. That's the exact effect that I'm talking about. Even though within some of the storms, they like to install certain technology to try to cancel out some of those thoughts, that is actually impossible. Even though the psionic dampening and amplification exists, it's impossible to get rid of that pure intention, true benevolent spirit. This is impossible, and these people know that these people think they understand the system by which things work. This is why they're constantly telling you through disclosure in the media what they are doing. They are stupid because they think they're absolved of everything just because they're telling you everything like a toddler would if they actually broke something. This is the type of mentality you are up against with a lot of these unchecked arrogance. And when you have unchecked arrogance, this is what this breeds. So you must also learn, if your thoughts slip into where they tread, be a fear to tread going into those places of thought. Do not confront them when those thoughts come up, but make sure that you do not become the very thing that you proclaim to hate. This is what they want. They want people to become just like it. So therefore, if they're not there anymore, they have still their teachings in place, if this also makes sense.
It does.
Yeah, it's like when the Emperor is trying to get, or Darth Vader is trying to get Luke to embrace the dark side. Whether the Emperor or Darth Vader's around anymore, once Luke's gone to the dark side, well, there you go. You've got, the dark that keeps on giving.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So Brian, hopefully you guys will be okay if I somewhat change the subject for the rest of this time, because I know you're going to chime in. I know you'll be fine, guys will be fine with it. But I have got to talk about unchecked egos. We are now going to put this to a macro level, because I would like to personally call out some unchecked egos that are going on right now that are affecting regular humans. It refers to some of the shenanigans of those people that I kindly call the Goodwill Foundation. Other people call it the Galactic Federation. I call it the Goodwill Foundation because when you go to some of their shops, you certainly aren't going to get the latest and greatest. You're going to get the hand-me-downs of hand-me-downs, right?
Yes, apt analogy.
That's why I call them that, because, they're not really what you think they are. So some of the shenanigans going on by them right now. One of the things that Chris and I have spoken about before is, again, a planned introduction, a planned thought of how things work out there, as this is just the way it is. I think there are teachings where people may have been taken to schools and this, that, and the other and taught some of those ways, but it's not because it's benevolently how things work. It's an indoctrination, like, going into a cult where you're indoctrinated into that way of being, that way of thinking. So what I want to tell you, what has been going on, and it's the reason I'm bringing it up in this show is because the forest people have been affected by this too. So what we're going to talk about is, when you have someone like that who has an agenda of how they want humanity to view the world and to view the Federation and to view all of these things, it's going to be down to the letter of, you need to think like us, you need to come to conclusions like us, you need to walk like us, talk like us, control your emotions like us. And they're trying to set a specific mechanism for how people are to think and to act. And if you do so, and you do so well, by God, welcome aboard. And until you do, you're not going to be welcomed aboard, number one. And number two, we're going to try to make your life a little miserable, especially if you have some sort of psionics ability. Because what they wanted more is an ambassadorship by those with psionic abilities. And if you don't act and think and be like them, then you have somehow failed and are sent back into a little bit harsher re-education camp. Okay, and this stuff is really going on.
You're sent to the back of the classroom and you get the real lame, beat up hand-me-downs with all the sporting equipment and all the musical instruments and all that.
Right.
Yes, and also say if you're sitting at the front of the class, say if even if some of the lessons that the Galactic Federation bestow would be warranted. Let's say if somebody needed that type of discipline where you would constantly test over and over again, and this is what I'm talking about. Not all people respond to this, and Earth has a wide variety of different personalities, people, and different color sizes, all of this. Far more than in some other areas of the galaxy, I might add. I mean, the Galactic Federation is full of different people, shapes, sizes, and colors of aliens and such, and humans. But say if you were already in the front of that classroom, had the aptitude to write the biggest equations, had the aptitude to levitate things telekinetically, or like with the force, so to speak. Now, say if that teacher didn't reward that good aptitude right away, but they just kept basically taking a giant brick out and slapping you across the temple, you would be pretty pissed, wouldn't you? And then they go, oh, and let's say if that person stood up and went, hey, man, what are you doing? Oh, you reacted to that, so therefore you have an F. You would be pretty angry, would you not? Then you're sent to the back of the class, and then the person that sat up to the front was basically had as his mother likes to say, basically has the personality traits of a turnip. So, meaning nothing. So this is what some of these instructors that test people are made to, or try to bestow on people in their tests. This equates, in my opinion, to your heart and a feather, where the heart is never going to be lighter than a feather, or your 10 commandments, where you even speak wrong and you disobeyed one. This is how harsh that testing is. This is where you got some of these parameters from, by the way. This is based upon things that are damn near impossible. You have, say if you have, I'll describe one of their little pull up the ass instructors here for just a second. Say if you have some instructors, say at West Point, let's just say for Army, and they test the soldiers to be the best of the best, which for that career choice is absolutely just fine. There's nothing wrong with this. Now, say you applied that particular way of doing things in every aspect of every type of test. Hell, they would, if they could, they'd probably test how you went to the bathroom. This is exactly how, that's the amplification I'm talking about, times a million. Well, he likes to say West Point on acid is how he likes to say it.
Like you wouldn't put toddlers through a combat training course and expect them.
No, not
So.
But again, part of this agenda isn't about, preparing you. It's about making you in mind sync.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about taking away part of who you are to mind sync and continue on with a way of thought, a way of
like
being.
the Watiko.
So
the mind virus and
right.
and like the ET form of DEI being enforced on us.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So I think the one thing again that we've
Where do you think it came from?
Right. So people, it's kind of funny because I always say you need to pull this back, way back, and look at it from a bigger level. And then you can understand some of the dynamics going on here when you understand galactic history and some of the dynamics going on out there. And I think, again, we know we're on a collision course with them. There's going to be some sort of relationship. But the bottom line is, what sort of relationship do you want? Do you want humans to be, and again, I'm going to age myself when I say, do you want everyone to be just a Stepford wife? Is that what you want? Humans that are just so bow their heads down, give me, I'll do whatever you want me to do for your goodwill hand me down, right? Or, again, for people to understand who they really are and what we can accomplish with, basically being ourselves. And, saying we'll have a loose relationship, but maybe I don't want to be a part of a club like that. Maybe that's not what I see humanity, or you want to see the color and the cultures of humanity. What is this about?
I mean, the only way I see us getting to that is a transhumanist timeline where we have that cookie cutter Stepford wife type, 19 or Aldous Huxley future.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and that's some of them now with your DEI type of situation. Are they all that way? No. There are some that lean slightly more towards that and less towards that. You have a mixed bag in the Senate. But the one thing that is constant is the testing portion of this. Say if you had an instructor, like if in any vocation, any trade that you're going into, and say if that instructor was practically up your butt the entire time, like writing down every which way you moved your arm or every which way you looked, or if they were like 3 inches from your face at all times, you would be pretty angry. And say if that person lashed out, then all of a sudden that person is now the barbaric mindset or the bigot. Sound familiar? What you hear in your news nowadays. This is where some of that garbage that you got came from. Also, think about also again, where did some of it also step out of? California. What is also happening there? Again, what we were just speaking about, the fires, other beings, land grabbing, etc., etc. This is essentially like for mining and all this, because Earth is more the wild, wild west. You're not under the same laws and rules as the rest of the galaxy. Yes, you are a former colony, or a colony that has been off the map for a little while, or at least territorially. You're more the wild, wild west, kind of like how Arizona was in that time frame. So it's essentially the same thing, where it's slightly lawless in respects to the rest of the galaxy, and that puts you in a place of advantage, not a disadvantage.
Is it safe to say, sorry, is it safe to say that Yellowstone is probably one of those wild, wild west spots? Because I feel like there's always something going on there, and like so much uncertainty and fear from different angles, and everyone's always afraid of something happening in that location, and they plant the flag on, some natural disaster. But I feel like there's something else maybe going on, like beneath the surface.
Yes, you are correct, Mike. In that particular area, it used to be ripe with a lot of elemental life, which it still is, but it used to be an area that was more considered, you would say, holy in your vernacular, but it was more, and sacred, but it was more or less a PowerPoint. And in that area, there also are beings that come and go portal-wise and everything in that area. This is why it's relatively left alone. The reason there is this fear feeling there is because long ago, there was a group of elves, let's call them, that decided all on their own that they actually wanted to be able to claim the resources at some later date. These are essentially patient creatures, and they will wait as long as they have to do things. They are the very same group of assholes that decided that they were going to try to co-create the big one earthquake in your state of California. The same ones that blew up your Mount St. Helens, the same ones that blew up Vesuvius in the Roman period, and the same ones that wanted to blow the massive supervolcano in Yellowstone. So they wanted to basically mine the area so that they could be left unimpeded in areas, essentially wiring, like somebody wiring a nuclear bomb to them so people couldn't kill them with a dead man switch. This is how selfish these beings are. This was essentially thought of in the times where they were still at war with Odin and them. So, that said, they would try to find places that they knew people would find the most peaceful, the most sacred, and just mine them. Now, is this happening now? No. These particular explosives actually grow cold after a certain period. They require a certain energy vibration to exist in, or they require constant maintenance. So the people have found these explosives on the surface before. They have like this odd cylindrical egg-esque shape with like a spiral lying through them. Essentially, where you get the myth of the world serpent in your North Scandinavian mythology, with the serpent that surrounds the world. That was also talking about the reptilian conquest, but at the same time, these beings were around in that time as well, and they would take these bombs that were shaped like an egg with a serpent around them, and they essentially would plant these bombs in areas that they did not want anyone else to possess. Again, planting the flag. Essentially, this is mine. Very much like with the word Maldek, they did that to the reptilians. Did that to Asgard and said, "Maldek, mine." This is essentially what they did with Yellowstone. Does this thing work anymore? No, it's partially not even there anymore because of the fact that this thing's broken. But are they trying to get people to co-create the original plan that they had by constantly peddling? Well, there's a super volcano under Yellowstone. You know how dangerous that is. So they want people to do the same thing and co-create their plans. That was more the plan B, mind you. The plan A was mine the playing field and hope somebody steps on it or hits the tripwire. This is essentially what they wanted to do. Do those groups control that area anymore? No, they wander in and out, hoping that they could possibly co-create what I mentioned before. But there are other groups. There are people wandering out of there, and also there's some cat beings that go in and out of there, and there's also dogmen that go in and out of there. There's a multitude of dimensional elementals and such that go in and out of there as well, and also a multitude of portals that have dumped beings from other time frames from the ancient past into that area as well. It's more of a conglomeration or a mixed bag or a chaotic soup of causeways, byways, and energy strings. Some say that's a time fracture, but no, that's Skinwalker Ranch and Stardust Ranch and the Bermuda Triangle and the other triangles. This is more of a highway, whereas say, if you had a hub and you had a like Stonehenge where you had a multitude of portals, that area was a peaceful area. It was considered to be a neutral area. No one had claim to it. And it is going to be that way again if we have anything to say about it, and we're not going to allow some blue and green elves to decide the fate of an area that doesn't belong to them. Hopefully this answered this.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you.
So I do want to go back and just finish one part of a conversation because I didn't want to leave some people hanging. Because when we were talking about right before this, the Galactic Federation and this testing that's going on, I want to bring into awareness where are people experiencing this so they can become aware that this may be what this experience is they're currently having. For some people, if their psionic abilities are right there, they see, they do all the time, it could be just right in their face, okay? But for many people, we're talking dreamtime invasions. Okay, so this is happening during the subconscious kind of time when you're in your dreams. We've been talking about the dreams. The very first episode we did called Dream On was done in 2017. We wanted people to be aware of all of the different potential things that happen during our dream times. Some things are very healthy. They're a part of us and what we do. Sometimes there are invasions, and this is what's done and why it's done. This is now an area where, you know, they will seem to come in to do some of this testing. What I want to say about it is that I think more and more people are beginning, the dreamtime area is probably the last area that you feel like you'll have control over. Okay, like I am active in my current dream. I can pull out a sword, I can do whatever, and I know I'm consciously in my dream. But for many people, it's kind of these wishy-wobbly or whatever. So what will happen if people give this thought and they wish to understand it more? And again, like I said, we'll have these conversations, rehab some of these conversations, but you can go back and see the Dream On was the very first conversation we tried to have to make people aware. So what will happen, and for people that are beginning to be more active in their own dreams when they realize something is there that shouldn't be there, okay? So first you'll realize that something in this crazy dream, and I'm becoming aware that it's not my brain doing its thing. It's something else going on. That's probably the first step where you'll realize and think, and you may even be thinking to yourself in your dream, and you're talking to your own self in your dream. Why is this going on? What is this? And you'll almost be conscious of yourself doing that within the dream. You're becoming aware of your dreamscape. What will end up happening, and what is happening again to everyone in this household right now, and what's been happening for years, is gaining control over the dream time to not participate. And I say this very clearly because overall, this isn't okay. You know, it's not okay to come in and do this to people. There is no informed consent, right? There is no talking about it, whatever. And it's not okay to do. Dreamtime invasions in our mind are not okay. End of statement, just not okay to do. And so people have to become aware of it. So I'm putting this little public service announcement out for those out there who are starting to become aware of it. My suggestion to you is When you're in a dream and you know something, you do not feel in control of what's going on in your dream, and you know it's not something trying to rectify itself, don't participate.
Yes,
Just sit down and don't participate in it.
do not, also in your dream state, if you find yourself running, falling, or battling, usually something 9 times out of 10 is in your dreams trying to mess with you, you can lucid dream and figure out exactly who's doing it.
Mhm.
In this, if anybody is trying to let you into a car or let you into a building, like say a butler or a chauffeur is opening a door for you somewhere, or if you're handed food or an object, refuse any of these things. Do not eat food in a dream either. This could bind you to some contractual thing that you are unaware of the logistics. Think in your Matrix 2 movie, I believe this is, where the Machiavellian character fed the woman coding that made her more sexually malleable to his suggestions. This is essentially the coding that he poisoned in the cake. This is essentially what is going on. You are basically melding with somebody else's coding that you don't know what. And so this is another thing that is happening very prolifically right now. If something is causing you to run in a dream, turn around and face it. Make sure that that being knows that it cannot be in your dreamscape without your perceived tacit consent. This is very big right now. Even though beings do not really hardly ever obey the consent thing in the dream world, they must, because that is your domain. In the open world, it's very similar to if a robber came in and you yelled, "I do not consent," they'd kind of laugh at you. So in the dream world, in your mental scape, you make the rules. You can become a giant and squash them like an ant, or you can actually sword battle them, whatever, get them out of your space. After a while, they will not try this because now more humans are becoming aware that these beings are around. Say if you see something out of the corner of your eye in your house one day, you may not have known what you saw, but that being knows that you saw them. And so what do? They harass mercilessly. Then, as he likes to say, they're stupid because if they had done nothing, you would have not questioned anything. This is more of a spirit move. You see, it's true benevolent spirit move because they're hoping that that being is its paranoid self. Oh crap! The human saw me. They're hoping that there's a reaction, so you begin to learn more. This is why some of this is allowed. You see, so people regain that knowledge and begin to. I hate to say this based on the previous topic, but learn the lesson. Even though there are lessons in life, you do learn. I am not dissuading this. Those guys out there have taken it to an all new level.
Well, I have to ask when you say those guys out there, on the one hand, you're talking about the Galactic Federation and they're being way too stern as a proctor or to test us. But then when we talk about things like nighttime invasions, that sounds like a violation of the free will and the prime directive and something the negative, not Galactic Federation. Like as lame as the Galactic Federation is, you got the other ETs who they not only don't abide by universal law, they enjoy violating it.
You are correct. They live in violating your space. They love doing all of these things. They take great pleasure in doing this. Even some of your remote viewers and military sects have learned how to reach into dreams. They even showed in your Star Trek Enterprise, there was another Vulcan that got into DePaul's dreams. They depicted that correctly. Now, do the Galactic Federation guys get into your dreams? Yes, but what they do is slightly different. They don't do the opening the door for you or handing you food or any of this stuff. No. They put you in classroom scenarios. They put you in unrealistic situations by which they think you shouldn't be shocked at the same as they would in the waking world. What they do in the waking world and what they do in the dream world are very similar. This is the difference. This is what angered us. He saw us angry in a dream not too long ago where there were these 3 testers. All he wanted to do was see new worlds, basically strange new worlds, and explore. What they wanted is to see if he was worthy or unworthy within the test. This is their crux. Now, there is a true more worthy and unworthy, like what your Odin and Thor would be at, whereas they don't want somebody that has less discipline being near a certain type of equipment, like you saw in your Star Trek Discovery, whereas you the equipment of the progenitors. That's very similar to Odin's mentality. the Galactic Federation's instructors' mentality is they will do that for everybody, regardless of what you are going in there for. If you're wanting to go out in space at all, they're more like the Vulcans in your Star Trek Enterprise, that they get a little miffed. They got a little miffed when Archer's people wanted to take that Klingon home in the first episode, where, oh, when your logic fails, you raise your voice, kind of thing. This is exactly how that is. Some of them are like that. Oh, they must remain on Earth for a little while longer till they get some other things together, that kind of thing. But the Vulcans in that situation based it on their own history, the fear of that humanity was coming out too soon. These guys are similar, so they figure, okay, we're just going to keep them in an unending lesson cycle, and then in maybe a few 100,000 years we'll let them out of this. No, I completely disagree with that particular testing type, and also the fact that if you do something enough, you're going to bring out somebody's bad side, like one of the parameters I said before. Sometimes too much is too much. They think people, like the Vulcans in Star Trek, they think no matter what you hit them with, that they must act with a certain composure. The people are different here on Earth. We're different than that. Of course, we'd be irritated if you poked us in the belly enough, or in the eye enough, or something like that. Of course, we're not just going to stand.
It's like they think everyone's going to be a Paul Atreides passing the Gom Jabbar test.
Exactly.
And like most of us are going to be like dead on the floor.
Well, there was a point where I sleptwalked and I would wake up and I would be flat on my face somewhere else, and I was harming myself in my sleep. And you go to doctors and they tell you, oh, it's whatever, just take this or do this, right? But I started to learn that it was like an energy attack, and I started to I would practice meditation while I was awake, and then carry that over to my dream state and kind of be like present in that moment, like she was saying earlier. Be present in your dreams. And you say, how do you do that? And that's the way I learned to do it, kind of, was through meditation. Now sometimes I still fail, and it does, something gets to me, and I use Reiki to like kind of heal myself, which is basically just life energy and knowing how to kind of self-heal and whatever, and healing through energies and getting, you could do it. I do it better to other people because I don't know why I care about other people more than myself. It's just the way I am, empath, whatever you want to put on it. But, there's just different, I'm sure there's other ways to go about it, like sleeping maybe with crystals under your pillow, like things to that effect. Certain things that might keep away a negative energy or whatever.
Grounding as well. Keep hematite close to you in your bedside at all times. Amethyst as well. Amber too, because these particular stones will not only keep you grounded, but healing as well. And as for the Paul Atreides test, yes, there are times when you're at a certain psionic level where it is not good to be in a rage or go or anything like that. So yes, there is a good point to that, but then it goes overboard where it's done all the time. Now, as far as the dream protection, yes, hematite is a wonderful one.
Yes.
This makes it so that your light body doesn't go wandering and meandering around the dimensions. You don't even have to wear it to bed. He's using the rings during this channel to keep him grounded. Now, he has bracelets too, but he also has orbs of it next to the bed. You don't want too much, but there's just enough around the house, in different parts of the house, to where you can stay grounded while you sleep. Now, the devices he makes, his Tower Busters, on the other hand, opened up his the dream part of the brain and the receptivity of it, but without then actually leaving the body or meandering the dimensions. It just opened up to greater messages because it was getting rid of the interference. He has a hematite magnet in the center of those. So with the orb, he has it right on his bedstand. He also made those bedtime pieces with the hematite chunks in it and the beads and such in it. This was actually crucial. Now, amethyst is a great protector, dreamtime protector stone. It is not only that; it's a healing stone. It also prevents the misuse of fire magic as well. Whereas if somebody's using a burning magic on you, or some kind of like fire spell, like if they're burning hair or if they're burning a voodoo doll or something of that nature, it will also prevent voodoo magic from being used on you as well with the pins, but also if somebody is trying to burn you from the inside out, like they're showing in your Dune prophecy, for instance, you brought that up, that type of magic that burns from the inside out or spontaneous human combustion. Amethyst is a wonderful use of a wonderful protector in that area. Now going to that spontaneous human combustion, some of that was alien experimenting, but it was that very same trick you saw in Dune Prophecy where they were burning. This is the same trick for spontaneous human combustion where you burn from the inside out. Amethyst is a wonderful thing to prevent that, that type of attack anyway. Yes.
Michael, I'm so happy you brought that dream walking up, because it's the one thing that I believe that more and more people are becoming aware of something energetic going on in their dream times, and how do I get better control of it? So I hope some people that may have the same problem really listen to your example. I'm really glad you brought that up.
Yeah, it's funny, the stones that you mentioned are the ones that well, 2 out of the 3 are the ones I have. I have a hematite ball that it has, like, I have other ones put on it, like there's other ones attached to it, like tiger's eye and other ones I forget, but they're all for the same purpose. And then in my windowsill right behind this there's 2 big amethyst rocks, like one, facing out, facing in, and collecting sunlight and moonlight, and I switch them back and forth.
Exactly. Amethyst is quite good. It's some say the darker the better, or the more purple the better. The other lighter ones do it, but what makes it purple is what actually gives it more of its bite. Let's just say the darkest purple amethysts that you can find are usually the most potent ones in this area. That and also amber, the darker amber, will help ground and heal. You see, so those 3 combined really work. But yes, those stones individually, like if you have, say, an amethyst pyramid, amethyst orb, things of that nature, hematite pyramid orb, any of all the above, spire or obelisk, doesn't matter what shape. You have a chunk of that sitting around is good. Now you don't want, like, say magnetite. That is good. That you use in your pieces as well, but magnetic materials are good. Just don't wear them all night long. And then you have moldavite, which you have to be very, very careful with. That's more of a psychic enhancer. You have to be incredibly careful with that one, or it will drive you insane. It works kind of like the silver kryptonite did on Clark Kent in Smallville, that drives him insane. It's a very similar effect. At least in the mental respect, anyway. So these are good protectors, but also good good ways of with overdoing it. But the amethyst, yes, I highly recommend the dark amethyst for a Dreamtime protector, and also against fire magic, as well as voodoo, and also hematite for grounding. So, are there any other comments, questions?
No, I think if you guys have any last ones, that we've covered so much today, I think it would be good to kind of cap it.
Well, one last question, actually, and Makwa, thank you for your time with us today. It's great to have you, and an honor. Under that area of LA, is there like a tunnel system or tunnel network? Especially, there's like the reptilian network that was discovered under Los Angeles, and then has it been added to with like the Getty Museum in that area?
You are correct, Brian. There is a massive tunnel system all over the United States, but in that area specifically, you have one in your Disney area. You have one also your Getty Museum area. You have in the middle of Los Angeles and Hollywood, you call it, area. Some of the child trafficking nonsense was happening there. They've made fun of it in movies and cartoons and everything. They've made reference to it in other science fiction as well, and in your Fallout video game series.
Okay.
But yes, that is essentially true. Like I said, some of the buildings that were spared, some of them were involved in this, some of them were not. They had to put some of the for not ones out there, so they didn't just keep the ones that were useful to them. But you get the idea, yes.
Yeah. Okay, excellent. Thank you for that last question, or answer to my question.
Last question, Mike?
No. I'm smiling at the dog like a
That's Napoleon.
Well, any last words that you have, and then we'll be done.
Yes, this is interesting because dogs and cats will also point out things that are around. He likes to say, dogs will point it out to you, cats will say to the thing showing up, and you would be doing what? Here, that's essentially true. So having animals around, this is another reason why animals were also harmed, not only to cause the most shock on sadness and death in the fires, but also they would have been some of the first to see some of the ET manipulating going on. They would have been some of the first to see something walking into the spaces. Even ourselves, like his dog Winston in Prescott, Arizona, would see Fuma and family there all the time and walk straight up to them wherever they happen to be in the room. Your Sammy will walk up to something in the room and look at it. And also your children's cats have been doing the same.
Whereas the negative ETs, they don't want pit bulls coming up and snarling at them ferociously, saying, "You're off. You don't belong here in Pacific Palisades or Malibu."
Yes, exactly. You see, aliens normally, when they go to abduct someone, usually they will paralyze the animal first from a distance, because even though there's natural paralyzation when you sleep, you do that to prevent from flailing around sleepwalking. They use that against someone, but they need them partially awake to be able to get what they need from them, which is sometimes loosh, sometimes other fluids, sometimes genetics, etc. But they actually will paralyze the animal first, because the animal can rip their head off. So same goes with also the humans that actually show up. They want to incapacitate a dog like a pit bull or a German Shepherd, Doberman, Rottweiler, any of them. Even the little dogs will alert the family, and they don't want something that's outside of their timetable. If a person is being a big enough pain in the ass, and I highly recommend this, flail around like a toddler if you have to. Break up their timetable. They have a very tiny window in which they can operate, both military and alien. The animals would delay them also. So they paralyze them first, and they put them, not put them to sleep, but they put them to like in a paralyzed waking state, like they would you. So animals are very good at seeing these things, and also they can alert people even if an enemy force is even much further away than at their front door. Just like your dog around here can hear somebody's car engine from much further off and recognize the difference between all the other vehicles around and airplanes and such and their owner's car. This is how their dogs in the past were. They could recognize the car difference. Imagine that talent when something is coming in with, say, a UFO making a hum, or having some kind of like psionic type of technology, like your sonic screwdriver in Doctor Who, or some kind of weird sound that nobody else can hear, but they can. This is why they go after the animal first. But you're going to see the tides turn to where animals will be able to alert people quicker because they're not stupid. They will be able to hear even something come in and be able to alert you quicker. This is the idea, and this is more of a spirit-inspired thing. So I think this is a place to take it out too. If you have anything else,
No, thank you so much.
Yeah. And and just one last thing on that is, to everybody, feed your pets, your dogs, cats, some human grade food if you can every now and then, because you just feed them kibble, they become more mentally retarded. And if you feed them human grade food, they are way smarter and telepathic.
That is actually good, because the kibble that you feed your dog, again, this goes back to what I just said. This makes them slightly dumber to where they can be controlled easier. And animals can be controlled by people in other faster moving frequencies with spell work too. If you get them off the same poisons that you guys are getting, they can alert you quicker and they can stop these dimensional forces quicker. This is why they too are being poisoned. So this is exactly why this is happening. So I will detach at this moment in time. Thank you for having me on. Thank you, everybody. So blessings to all. Thank you. Bye-bye now.
Thank you.
Ugh. Yeah. Yeah, he was actually fairly easy, gentle. Oh, and there's that puppy. Yeah. That Sammy, he doesn't generally like being on camera. We brought him in here for things periodically. He doesn't like doing it. Well, he was on one of our Q&A shows years ago when he was very tiny. We were just holding him. He didn't like being on that. So he was in a little green sweater or something. He was showing him. Yeah, he didn't particularly like it. Winston, the miniature schnauzer, didn't like it either. So we would try to talk to him across Skype or across Zoom, and he wouldn't look at me like that.
Oh,
So
they call it the devil window. Our dogs call it the devil window. They also call the phones devil windows. And so, like, if my wife is traveling and she's been away for a while and I miss her, I'm talking to her over FaceTime. I'll try to call the dogs over, and yeah, you put the phone right up in their face, and the dogs are.
Now Sammy will listen on the phone. Winston will do that where they will listen if you're on the other end, but they won't look at it. So they hate looking at it. Winston would look at every single thing but that. So it's like Sammy does the same. He'll look at the floor and do this. So yeah, no, he won't. So yes, This I'm glad that we did this show tonight. We got to do this. They always turn out good. So thank you to Brian Singh and Mike C. there from Long Island Bigfoot. We enjoyed having them on. I don't know if you guys have anything further before we close the circle tonight.
I hope everyone likes and subscribes and hits the notification button and checks out our conference website for the 2025 Full Disclosure Conference. It's fulldisclosuremovement.org is a website, and get your Super Soldier early bird tickets now before they go up slightly at the end of the month.
Mm-hmm. And Mike?
No, thank you for having me. I had a good time. Appreciate it.
No, thank you. So thank you all for watching this show. This particular episode is going to be available both on the YouTube and the Rumble, but there are far more Sasquatch episodes on the Rumble. That is rumble.com/the world of Sasquatch. You can also go rumble.com/the lifting to see all of our old episodes, or most of them going back to the very beginning, the very first episode. Dream On is in the first initial bunch right there. So thank you for everybody for watching this. We now close this circle within true benevolence and no conflicting agendas of this moment in time. So thank you, everybody. Bye-bye now.
I haven't told you, I actually saw another forest person in the flesh last month.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It was up in the Adirondacks. I was actually driving to come down to Long Island for the stint I had down here right before Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And I was driving over this bridge in between Malone and what is it, Plattsburgh?
Mm-hmm.
And I looked down at this stream, and it's just in the middle of the stream, this black silhouette. It's covered in snow, the whole area. You wouldn't be down there at all. Like, the stream was pretty much frozen anyway, but I looked down there, and it's just standing in the middle there. There were other cars on the road and everything, but it was set back enough where most people wouldn't have seen it. And I was like, oh, well, there's a forest person.
Oh, that's interesting. No wonder they were around this morning. I'll just open this up properly and then
full black. And it was a very quick, split second. Saw it, kept driving, thought about turning around and stopping, but I was like, yeah, by the time I get back there, it's not going to be there. So.
Oh yeah, they did that so that you would see them. They did that to us too. Okay, I'm gonna open this. I open this. Okay. Yeah, I just saw this in my head, of this black figure in the stream. So it was no, that's definitely. Mm-hmm. I thought I felt them this morning. They actually came into a dream that I was having to help repel somebody that was screwing around there.
I had some weird dreams the last couple days.
What happened?
It was basically like everything that could possibly go wrong in this stream, like with my personal possessions, broke.
Oh God!
And it was like my laptop that I'm using here. The screen just it was weird. I should have known it was a dream at that very moment, but I didn't. And when I woke up, I'm like, oh, my laptop's fine. But it was it wasn't like the screen broke in the way screens break. It just kind of disintegrated.
Oh, it just kind of went, yeah.
It shattered like a pane of glass almost.
Oh God!
But half of it was left, but then the other half was just in pieces on the floor.
Oh God! I've had dreams like that where It's like the opposite of the Midas touch, where you're like touching shit and they just break.
And then my glasses like got like crushed. But the weird part was it was like a version of my glasses that wasn't exactly the same as my glasses, but similar enough where I was like, oh, those are my glasses. Like the frames were slightly different, and I was like, oh, okay, well, my glasses are fine. I don't seem to care.
God. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I got up and I had to actually got up in the middle of the night one time to check on stuff because I thought stuff had like gotten destroyed in the middle of the night one time. Uh, and I had to go look and everything was fine. I'm like, well, fuck, you know. So, yeah, I've run into that. As when you were talking about that, there was like, yeah, that forest person you saw. Oh my God. Yeah, he was wanting to intentionally show himself there. That was for your benefit.
Hmm.
And they do that. Fuma's done that, like he did in the photograph, all this other stuff. When we were at Spirit Lake, they showed themselves in photographs too. And partially there, like phased in, phased out, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, but you said he was fully solid though.
Oh yeah, no, no, it was just black figure standing in the water. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, it had to have been fully solid, otherwise I would not have seen it. It was far enough back from the road, like if it wasn't fully solid, you wouldn't see it.
let's see. Friend, are you here? Because I can sense eyes. What's your name, friend? Oh, no. Oh, you are strong. Hang on. Let me write this down. All right. I just heard yes, yes, we are. Yes. Okay. All right. What's your name, friend? Because I can see you. You're half in, half out, but solid black. Oh, you like all the statues I have around of all the forest people stuff. Okay. Yeah. All right. What's your name? The you start with a V? A B. Okay. V. All right. You just say your name was Banyan? Banyan, like the tree. Okay. Because there's a banyan tree. Banyan trees are like what they consider the Buddhist trees, where they have look like a Buddha, like meditating.
Hmm.
Okay. If you look up banyan tree, that's over in India.
Okay.
And also, like the name Fuma, for instance, I found out that is an East Indian word meaning basically tree dweller. So he's choosing an East Indian reference. Okay, so Banyan. Okay, it's like we have Vitos here. So yeah, what Banyan you showed yourself to Ryan? Yes. Okay. Do you have a tribe in that area? Yes. Are you a sentinel or did you just want to just make yourself known? Just make yourself known for communications purposes. Yes, of course.
Yeah, there's a lot of like Sasquatch reports from the Adirondack area. I don't know specifically about that area, but I know that the Adirondacks themselves, there's even this like girl that has like a whole account about Adirondack Sasquatch stuff.
Yes. Oh yeah, I'm sensing a lot of them. Oh my God, there is like this huge population there.
Well, that one town up there has like Sasquatch like documentaries and stuff that go there, and they even have like a Sasquatch calling festival and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. hmm
The place called Whitehall.
Banyan said yes, yes, yes. We set it up this way. Yeah. He's a bit of a card. So let's see. Are you more of a facilitator, like an ambassador, communication type ambassador? Okay, that's close enough. Okay. That one you want to set up communication between your group and someone that can hear you. Yes. Okay. That's how Kiosa was for Arizona. So okay. Um, so, what did you want to say to him? Uh, okay, Well, you're transmitting a lot in a few seconds here. So, okay. Let's see if I can translate that. Okay. They sometimes like to use this bigger quantum like language variation and
Yeah, they like the basically download type language stuff where they
yeah.
send all the information and then they don't like explain it, but it's just there.
Yeah, they don't explain it, but it's just the intention of it's there. Yeah. Odin likes to use this too, but he has this massive like download.
I've had the Odin ones happen multiple times. I know the vibe.
Yeah, they do the same thing. It's just a different vibe, you know. So,
The Odin vibe is like you're gonna take this information and I'm not gonna tell you a thing about it, but it's gonna be you're gonna use it sometime.
oh, he does. That was his attitude with me and Bjorn. He goes, oh yeah, you'll get it. Your brain will translate it here soon, and it did. It just
Oh
took.
yeah, I've had it happen too because he loves to. He'll come in and just do like he'll like you won't. I'm giving you this early or something, and I'm like, okay, thank you.
Yeah, oh, he does that. Yeah, he's known for that. So,
And then he views it as like he's giving you the greatest gift, and you're just like, thanks. And he's like, and then he's just all, and he's like, oh, you'll be thanking me later. And I'm like, okay. I'm like digging a hole, and he'll be like sending me stuff, and I'm like, okay, I'm trying to work, man.
oh yeah, it's like work time, man. We'll get to that later. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like, no, it's happening now, and I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna be out of it for the rest of the day. Thanks, Odin. Because
yeah.
that when he does it, it's draining.
Yeah. When I was doing a session with Bjorn, yeah, that when he sent this massive like thunderbolt of one in, and it was just like, oh my God.
And it's normally stuff like when I unpack it, it's normally stuff that's just like, oh, this is what your life used to be like, and I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, thanks. Like, this is cool to know, but like, this was not the time to give it to me, man.
I know his timing sometimes isn't the greatest. So yeah, it just however that energy rotation happens to be at that particular moment in time that the conduit is open, and yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Banyan, what was the? Can you give it to me one more time, please? Okay, if I'm translating this right, it's yes, he showed himself to facilitate communications because you pass through there often.
Yeah,
And
I passed through there a decent amount, especially that specific route. That's like the route I have to take to get from that city up in the Adirondacks to Long
yeah,
Island.
that's what he's saying. They recognize you had a higher psionic capability to be able to communicate with them. So
Oh, like I've definitely known that they're around while I'm digging up there. Like there was one day where I was convinced we were all being watched from just outside of like vision. And,
mhm.
and I even told the one kid, I'm like, yeah, we're being watched by a Sasquatch right now. And that kid was like, no, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, that's what happened when we were talking to this guy named Mike on one of the round tables. He showed a photo of a Sasquatch just showing one red eye doing this, in the dark like this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The one that communicated, and he said the reason he did the red eye is because of the change in energy environment when somebody entered their territory, and he was more like, okay, what's this, kind of thing.
No, I just got like it was probably like whatever one of the groups like sentinels kind of like out on the edge to make sure that people don't come like too close in.
Mhm.
Like one of them out there just like observing us, and I could just tell that it was that they were there. And I yeah, I told the guy who I was team digging with because this was like right after I came back from Ireland. In fact, it was the week before I saw this fellow,
Mhm.
uh, and I was like, "Yeah, we're being watched by Sasquatch right now." Like I could just tell, and this kid was like, "Shut the fuck up."
Yeah, yeah. Banyan's laughing. He goes, "Was me." He does. He's
But
so.
yeah, yeah, this was it was just funny. I was like, "Yeah, we're being watched by a Sasquatch," and I can tell we're being watched by a Sasquatch. I know they're there. I could tell even where in the forest it was compared to where I was, but
Oh, that's funny.
yeah, this kid that I was working with, he was like, "Shut the fuck up! I'm not gonna entertain this."
The
I mean, it was work. That kid goes like super hard into work like mode, so you
he's
could have conversations with him, but if it's like nonsense like that, he like in his eyes, it's just not gonna. He's not.
here with him, yeah. Uh, so what, friend, what, Banyan, what is it you wanted him to know other than what you just downloaded to me in a big thunderbolt like that? What, can you just say it and not do if you would, please? If you don't mind. Yeah, okay. Will you though? Yes, okay. All right, let's see.
Ah, yes, the force person can you, but will you?
Yeah, yes. Okay, he's speeding up like verbal speech. He's seeing if I can translate this right. Okay, you're gonna do that. Okay. All right. That's fine. What is it you wanted him to know completely? Okay. The entering their territory like that, you're not only you've been watched, but people that you bring with you are being looked over as well, just like with your friend. And then when you enter, I think they intend to rev up communications with you while you're in that area, big time, like sight, sound, smell, telepathy, the whole bit. Oh, you got booted out.
Yeah, yeah. The Zoom like app just cut itself out fully.
That okay. This doesn't surprise me because we're doing communications with the forest people, and others don't want that to happen. So that's typical. So
I wasn't surprised by it, but I was just like, oh, I got cut out.
oh yeah, it happens when you're in that zone. Somebody else goes boop, and they just take you out of it. But um, what else? Oh, you want to tell him directly? Okay. Hmm. Oh, I am not too slow communicating it. Okay. All right. All right. Well, I forgot to do that. Oh well. Okay. So, all right, Banyan, I'll put the phone around the corner so you're not disrupted by it. There we go. Okay. All right. So, oh, that's right. Yeah, I use this when I do channelings of the forest people. One of these.
Oh, I like that. That's a nice piece.
Yeah. Now, say it has their image on it here.
Yeah, that's cool.
These are cool for. Oh no, he likes that. I don't think, yeah, the Banyan here has never seen me before. He just recognized that kind of through the grapevine that we'd be talking. So let me get a Banyan. What is a forest person statue that looks like you here? The left.
Oh,
All right. Oh, yeah, this one. Okay. This.
that makes sense. Yeah, that's just a black Sasquatch was what.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I saw it as just like a black figure because it was at a distance, but I just intrinsically knew that was a Sasquatch based on what was going on, like the weather and stuff. That's not a person down there. No person's going to be walking out like 200 feet from the road in all black in early December when there's like 5 inches of snow on the ground.
Yeah, and Isaac piped in. He goes, "Oh, it's a black man." Okay, yeah. I'm like, yeah, and then this guy turns around and goes, "What?" Because he didn't expect Isaac to be around.
Yeah, but that's like I could just tell that's what it was. Like, there's no other explanation for that than a Sasquatch.
Oh, Isaac, what are you saying to him? You put the cone of silence up. What are you saying to him? Nothing. Oh, bull crap. But okay.
Oh my god, he gave like a really stupid introduction.
Oh, I just saw Banyan roll his eyes. It's got to be something retarded. So, all right, all right. Uh, yes, I know. There's a Banyan goes weirdo. Okay, so all right. You've never actually met him before, have you? No. Okay. So most people that are around us have actually met him at least a couple times. So yeah. All right. Um. Okay. Isaac, you don't have to give him a creepy introduction. Okay, let's see. All right. Okay, Banyan, I know he threw you off a little bit, but okay. Interesting. Uh, he sees all the Sasquatch stuff I have around in here. I got several statues and one here. I have a bunch of them in the workshop where I've made a ton of those. So,
Mhm.
he thinks that's cool. And, yeah, and that. Hmm.
Oh, that's cool. I like that.
Yeah, these actually mark territory. If you put those up, the forest people can come in more in an area. So,
Interesting. I'll have to get one for my truck.
yeah, I'll send you a couple things. Yeah, so you can put them on your truck. They'll
Yeah.
last. They're weatherproof. So,
It looks weatherproof. Yeah, that's why I was like, I'll put one on the back of my truck.
hmm, Banyan. Oh, yes, Isaac. I know he takes his time. We just met him. Okay. And Banyan, don't mind him. He's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a retard. Just like
But,
listen. If you have to listen to him, take everything he says with a grain of salt.
and Isaac's like, okay.
Isaac is like the definition of somebody that can give it, but you're like does not like to take it.
Yeah, exactly. He goes, the Polak thinks he's funny. Okay,
I mean, that's just a general observation there, buddy.
uh,
Get good.
oh yeah, he'll get butt hurt pretty quick if you make fun of him. Yeah. Um, I've noticed he has limits. So, um, okay. Lane and Vesson rip him a new one all the time too. So, yeah, see, Banyan, that edifice I have outside in the vines out there.
Hmm.
Okay, that's the major communication port there. There. Huh. Okay. Hmm. Now through here, and then yeah. Greetings. Yes, I am Banyan. It's actually a longer name by definition, but well, this will suit me just fine. It is not necessarily a pseudonym, but yes, Isaac, it sounds like banana. You can go away for 2 seconds. Thank you. Okay. Yes, so I did not expect the clown to be on the property. Or there are several like him that I've encountered in my lifetime. I am not as old as some of the ones you've encountered. I am actually roughly 220 years old. Some would consider me a youngin. I occupy the Adirondacks in that area, and also some of my tribe occupy a large swath of territory in that part of New York and further down into a bit of over into Pennsylvania and further over into up into a bit of Canada further north as you go through elements of the other states. That's our migration path, you see. But the society that I belong with is mainly the Adirondacks, and we wanted to make ourselves known to someone who communicates and is capable of communicating with us. We are currently embroiled in a bit of a conflict with the aquatic Draco. Not that this would inhibit us communicating, but ones in Canada downplayed the severity for a little while, but just like with co-creation on a mass scale helps, this would help us greatly. Also, communications always is an option for our people. We recognize your psionic gifts. No offense to other humans, but for a human at this stage of evolution and the amount of oppression and dominating that is going on, as he says in his head, you actually bring a different card to the table, you would say. So the communications is because of this. Also, any friends you bring by, it is interesting that you come right out of the gate, humans would say, with the information, and watch the, he calls it butt clenching occur. Some of us find this humorous, just like Dear Broston did during his other broadcast that he had, watching the other person during the broadcast. Broston seems to have a sense of humor. I see the name in his head as well, and we've associated with that particular tribe too, and that is out of Tennessee. So I can answer your questions if you like.
I mean, you seem to have messages you want to convey, so I will allow you to speak.
Yes, yes. The what I gave you in a download, it wasn't just myself; it was an entire group that gave you a download. Odin's downloads notwithstanding, he does things as an individual, giving this big thunderbolt of a message. I didn't wasn't the only one giving this message. This was from a not necessarily what you would call a collective. Everybody has their own personalities, but it was just a common download thread, you would say, or a common tagline. Let's just put it that way. That wanted to, or hashtag, let's just say, to convey an idea. And that idea was communications. That idea, some wanted to add their own gifting ideas in there, of course, and other ones wanted to introduce themselves in time and also relay messages to yourself and other people in time. We also recognized this communication would take place with someone you had in your head, which is him, that could also communicate with us. I had not been formally introduced to himself or this environment, obviously, because we encountered a clown on his property, makeup and all, I might add. And that was a joke, actually. It's just the way he dresses. It reminds me of a of circus clown. But anyway, I've seen plenty, red nose and all. That was a joke. But in this, as you say, he cannot handle what he dishes out, and but we do not suffer from that affliction. Anybody wishes to make fun of us is, as long as it's in, you would say, good taste, sort of, so to speak, and is not a harmful way, we laugh and take it with stride. The overall message, though, was communications and passing communications on. We noticed that he has branded this in its own way, and that is actually much appreciated for communications. Yes, spreading that branding around will help us a great deal with the terminology that has been put exclusively on that particular branding. It is the world of Sasquatch. So this is what I wish to convey. If you don't have anything else.
I I don't have I don't have direct questions. I just could tell that there was one of your people and was happy to uh, see it because I don't see your people in the flesh, except for one other occasion that I can recall. Uh, and it was a gift, and I thank you for making contact.
I thank you as well that the contact will rev up in volume exponentially over this next year. You can actually put you could say more of a prediction in a way, but we're actually telling you that these types of communications will rev up in volume. Do have to be careful who we communicate with. Of course, we had to walk around military, aquatic Draco, other ETs, clowns notwithstanding, with jokes, and also the the regular old Joe that might have a belief system in the way of communication or misinterpreting ourselves, like religious beliefs, things of that nature. Those of Spirit Lake were the same way. You get what I'm saying. So this is why we are very selective about who we communicate with, but those selectiveness will start to expand over your 2025. So if there's nothing else, I will detach. I just wish to say this. So thank you.
Thank you.
Ooh. Oh, yeah. He's pretty strong, actually. He wanted to. That's why he was talking quick. He wanted to relay all that in a short period of time. Ooh, all right. Yeah, that's yeah, he's pointing to he went out into my workshop out there and was looking around and see you can also see in my head that I'm getting new molds made here soon,
Hmm.
different other Sasquatch busts. And there's a head that's like this big, and
Yeah.
I'm going to get one made of that too. And there's another standing tall one that's about like this that I'm gonna get made as well. So I have different versions of them. Because our communications with that community has expanded considerably. So the because we've had several interviews on the world of Sasquatch, like with Brian and them, and our team and a couple others, Mike and a couple others. But yeah, this. Oh, yeah. They're just saying the sightings will go up. My mother even saw one here in a neighborhood not too far from here. When they were driving, there
Hmm.
was a
Yeah.
fourth person looking over somebody's fence, just peering over somebody's fence. Oh, I was just told I can relay what happened in the middle, not in the middle of the night, but like this morning. One of the funniest things I have ever seen the forest people do was in a dream state. And there was another group, and this is something I'm thoroughly getting sick of. It's their, this is what happened to this other group was I was laughing when this happened. Um, some of these Galactic Federation representatives, what they like to do is they like to test people until they're like the Marine Corps where they constantly,
Oh, they do that Michael shit where they test you until you break.
yeah, yeah, and they kept bringing the damn shingles back in my eye constantly. I'm having to do putting medicine in it again, and I had it gone because Indrid Cold when he talked to us last time, he initiated that, but he knew when to stop. And when you realize it's a test, and then you realize it's like some kind of test parameter by the Galactic Federation, they're supposed to end it then and there. And this other group, they were this. I saw they had uniforms on of the GF, and in the dream sequence, this was just stupid. When I was in the dream sequence, there were three of them. There was a woman and two guys, and there was this like portal network they were operating. And this, they were showing, oh, you can, like in like the Sonic the Hedgehog movies, when they throw that ring and they can pass from like
Yeah,
planet
yeah, yeah.
to thing.
Yep.
It's like that, where they literally will just open a ring up and then just scoot to another space. And it's just a frequency thing where you just dial the frequency of another place and then put it over here and it goes over there. Well, what happens is, it shows they don't need ships, they can just portal places. What happened was, these I was told go through these rings to this other planet, and one was a snow icy one was like this like medieval village looking place, and then one was this like a forest or something. And then I went to all these places, and each one of them is like seeing how I handled something in that scenario, like how I greeted it, how if I followed a certain procedure, if I got pissed at somebody, if I wasn't finding a peaceful solution to something, or if I was, this is how they operate. They're one trick ponies, is what they are.
Hmm.
And then I realized I was being messed with a little bit, and I came out, and they're like, "Oh, you didn't do this particular thing. You didn't do this. You didn't do this. We can't have you like out there in space right now. We can't have you doing this, and this." And the woman was the worst. She was the most snarky, the most arrogant, kind of like how the ancients are on Stargate SG-1, how they respond to the SG teams and everything. They're all arrogant and just talk down to them all the time, kind of thing. And it's like that. And that's how in that show how these same people operate and or look. And what happened was I walk away and I go into where this apartment was where I had originally appeared in the beginning before I went to see them. And I noticed somebody was like robbing the apartment. And these guys were like nasty. I mean, both like sexually nasty and hostily nasty, and because they were going through some women's underwear drawer and like sniffing the panties and all this other crap.
Oh God.
And I'm going, guys, you're nasty. Get out of here, And just a group of black guys that were running through there, and there was like one Hispanic guy, and there was like one white guy that kind of looked like Eminem, a little bit. And
Mhm.
and I'm like, and they're all in the street garb and everything, with the scarves and the hats backwards and the whole bit. And I said, guys, just get the fuck out of here. And I went back to the these other three. And they're like, oh, you still failed the test parameters because we were actually trying to get you to be more of like guarding the portals here and not be distracted by the robbers. And I was like, yeah, but you still have to take care of a situation when it comes. You don't know Earth very well, obviously. So there was they're stupid, and finally, they kept failing me and saying, oh, you did this, didn't do this, didn't do this. Finally, the forest people merge into the dream sequence, and I saw a few of them just scowling, and uh, and they're like, guys, he told you to stop. We see you hurt his eye, and you need to stop now. And they're like, they weren't fucking around either, and because they're trying to get their seat at the table out there, but these assholes keep testing them too in the same way. And like whoever sits at the table must be like that's the cream of the crop, like West Point crap,
Yeah.
And I get where you should have some military-esque procedures, but not that anal. You don't have to be that anal. And West Point has nothing on these guys. And so what the forest people were pissed because you could tell they had it done to them. And they're like, no, some people get worse if you do this. It's kind of like Arlie Ermey's character in Full Metal Jacket when he did that to the wrong guy and that guy was psychotic and kills him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that. You push somebody too far, you're gonna get it, and you have it coming at that point. And what happens is these forest people said, stop it. You make things worse when you push it because he was getting more peaceful. He's been peaceful. He's been evolving in this area, and we want a seat at the table so that we have say what happens here on Earth. And for us, and these three weren't getting it. So finally, you always know the good groups when they try to find loopholes and shit.
Yeah.
And the fact that I'd been putting this out there, just saying I can say this now, been putting this out.
Mm.
And it says exclusive, see in the corners?
Oh yeah.
And you can thank Bjorn for that one. And putting it up, I've been putting them in the neighborhood. This was welcoming more forest people into the area and basically saying that we have exclusivity. That loophole, they said to these three guys, you just attacked somebody within our territory. We can actually put you under arrest for that. And,
That probably terrified them.
and they're like, what? No, this is actually the Earth is wild, wild west. You don't have any territory. They're like, hello, we live here. We're Earthers. We may have started out galactic, but we have a colony here, and some of us are descended, some of us, ancient. You guys know this. And so they said the fact that he put those out made this little swath of land their turf, also the communication arc, all the statues. They basically said, we can place you under arrest. You just assaulted a citizen within our territory with your tests. And they
that probably did not go over well with the Galactic Federation.
nope. They're like, you want us to be a seat at the table? Now we're at a seat at the table, and we can cream you if you don't stop this. And it's like, what? I about died laughing because these three were like, what? And they're like, no, we literally can call somebody and have you taken away from here if you don't cut it out. At least Indrid Cold cut it out when I found out what was going on. He was still a company man, but he knew the limits. Same thing with Valiant Thor. When you find out what he's doing, he stops. So, but these guys didn't get that memo, and they had to be taken away. Then they were gone after that, and the force people are like, like that. They're like, thank you. But but yeah, I found that personally hilarious when that happened.
No, that is hilarious because these people are all about rules and then they break the rules.
Yeah, and so the force people set it up. It's almost like they gaslit them a little bit. Well, they said gaslighting is too strong of a word. It's more like knew that eventually they would try this, and had kind of the kill box set up for them a little bit. You know,
Yeah.
not that they would have allowed any of the stuff to happen. It's just they knew these people would persist. So, and then I heard one of them say, "People that might be pushing it a little bit. They're fucking around," but it's like, yeah, that was hilarious. What happened? I about died laughing when I was just rolling when that happened.
Oh, I
Uh,
would be too. That's funny.
yeah. I get personally sick of that crap because every now and again we have a GF recruiter trying to come in and sell their tagline and all this other stuff. I'm like, please leave. You know. Uh,
Every time I've had slight stuff with that group, but I usually don't entertain it. And
mhm.
whenever they try something, I'm just like, I was in the secret space program. Just go look at my records there if you want any kind of inclination as to what will happen.
Mhm.
That tends to keep them away for the time being, and then they'll show back up and they'll be like, my service record there, you can go look at that if you want any information about me. You're not allowed around me. And it tends to work.
Oh yeah, I've done that too. Like Elena and Vesa, they will find they interact with the GF a lot, but they find loopholes and workarounds for stuff like people should be. You know, they don't. They know not they know that these people shouldn't be pushing my buttons because they're going to get their head cut off. So it's like they don't push me because I also have the SSP background and I get triggered by this kind of crap. So it's I woke up paralyzed the other morning, like couldn't move. I'm like, uh-oh, what happened? And
Mhm.
I see Elena looking at me. She's laying next to me, like she came up out of like Joanna, and I saw the environment was all warped looking. Like when you're in the paralyzed state and you have your eyes open,
Yeah,
everything
yeah,
it has like these sawtooth thing, like sharp points and stuff on it. And because the brain, you're in a half state. I saw AJ on the Y files mention this too, where he calls it like can't remember the type of hallucination it was like hegegogic hallucination or something like that, where you come out of like anesthesia or you come out of like you're paralyzed but you're awake but you're not.
yeah. No, I know what you mean.
He said he had an old hag experience that scared the shit out of him. And he's normally a skeptic, but then that happened. He's like, ugh, you know. But
You
what
get
happened?
jumped by the hag. I know that. I know about people that get jumped by the hag. My grandfather gets jumped by the hag, and then you that. But the funny thing about him is he'll still be asleep. He's like, "I'll fucking kill you, bitch! I'll rip your head off."
Oh yeah, because he knows that's around. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but with this though, Elena was looking at me, trying to get me to focus on her, looking at her, because I was laying towards the side, and I felt something mess with my feet. And it turned out to be a gray, but anybody can enlist the grays. Hell, anybody, benevolent or malevolent.
Yeah.
So they didn't want me to pop out of the paralysis field and then shove a knife through its head. That's because I would have. I've done it before. So I actually found a knife of mine that had Zeta blood on it. So I knew I'd killed one of them. I kept having these emotions like I wanted to drive a knife through one of the Gray's skulls,
Hmm.
and it's from the SSP. It's from also being abducted multiple times by the malevolence. And if I see a Gray, if I visually see them, I lose it. I shit. And so
As you should.
yeah, and they know that. They know I'm in the right for it. It's just that this was more of a healing measure. They were trying to drain toxins out of my system, is what it was. Because from that fog that's been around. Uh, have you heard about the mysterious fog incidences at all?
No, I have no idea what you're on about.
There's a. I had just heard of it myself, and there's these poison chem fog clouds that have appeared in places,
Oh.
and it's essentially carrying nanos and toxins, the usual
I
bullshit.
mean, I've been in foggy areas, but it's always like mountains and stuff where you expect it recently.
Yeah, this is in places that you wouldn't normally see it. That's
Oh, fair enough.
yeah, and it's just a bunch of chemming that's going on, and poisons that are around and everything. And what happened was that apparently also through food, there's certain foods I'm starting not be able to touch anymore because apparently
Hmm.
I built up toxins in my system. And they're trying to help. I've asked for help in this area, but again, they find a workaround that they can use. And they wanted me to stay calm because if I turned my head and looked, I'd have seen the black eyes. So it was like I would have popped out of that, and the dead gray would have been adorning a spike in the yard. So they wanted to make sure that I didn't attack the one that was actually pulling the toxin out of my feet. And
Hmm.
uh, they were utilizing it for something good. So I'm like, okay, but I prefer more direct contact than work around, but whatever. But I was pissed about that until I found out what it was. And but I think paralysis field in any paralysis is creepy no matter what.
Oh yeah, no, 100. I don't think it's a good option, but sometimes these groups think it's the only option, so they
Yeah,
do it.
and what happened was I can kick out of them. It takes me a second, but I can snap out of it. It's a body's natural thing. When you go to sleep and you go into REM sleep, the body paralyzes automatically, so you don't sleepwalk. And the aliens will, for either communications or for abductions, they will keep you in that state, but you're awake.
I
Uh,
mean, technically, it's not for sleepwalking. That's just like a modern view of it. It's more so that you don't like thrash around and like break something.
oh, that's true enough too. Yeah, yeah.
Because I have a buddy, my friend in Ireland. He will wake up, and I guess his body doesn't do it right or whatever, but he wakes up sometimes like having like literally tore tendons in his legs from like thrashing around in his sleep.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's so you don't like if you're in a dream where you're like punching something out, you're not like doing that. Yeah.
Well, I don't even think it's from like dreams and stuff. I think it's just like his body does that because it's this is like a common thing. Like he's often on like strong painkillers and stuff because he's fucked up his leg.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's like he's got restless leg syndrome when he's asleep, and he just like yeah.
Oh, I get it. Yeah, I have that rippling effect that I go through my whole body. That's SSP related, but that's also because I was born premature, so there was something in the nervous system that wasn't quite aligned right. And
Hmm.
I asked for help in that area too because the muscle undulations have gotten worse. And after I got COVID, it got significantly worse. And the COVID thing was I had it really bad one time, mildly one time, and it never came back after that. But it was when I had it back in 21, the muscle undulation thing got significantly worse. And I had it balanced out before, but they're telling me it's some kind of disorder, and I have to actually get it looked at.
When
Mm.
I had COVID in 21, it was bad, but this I think I've had it since. I'm not positive, and it was like nothing.
Yeah, I think I've had it a few times because I've noticed my taste buds start to slip a couple times and return to normal. So I'm just thinking I'm just getting more immune to it. That's all.
Well, I mean, yeah, we've all built up like immunities towards it now, and it's weakened in its like raw state. That's just how diseases work, because the diseases don't actually want to kill you.
Yeah.
What they want to do is continue growing like within the hosts, and so what they really do is they're trying to um, like continue on, and killing the host is never like the main idea of it, but
Yeah, because they can't go from a dead body, so they'll die along with it. So they want to keep the person alive. Yeah.
yeah.
So they can pass on to the next person. So that's the whole point of them, those to survive. So yeah, so yeah, if it's something that's too strong, of course, it's going to kill you. But in this case, I got a bad strain of that in 21. It was ugly, and then I got it again when we in 22 when we went to go investigate out here at the East Coast. I some ginger chews managed to fix the taste, but then we were near the ocean, so it fixed a lot of it. And then that's why they kept people away from the beaches because it was going to fix the whole thing. the salt air and the sea and everything, and the ground. People would reground and everything. So,
Yep.
but
I said, yeah.
oh no, they were saying something too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just gotta. Uh, did it mess with you guys too? Smaller extent than us. Uh, but you guys did get affected by the nanos and all that other stuff, and the shedding and all that. Yeah, okay, it was toxic to you as well. Okay, uh, I mean, and also the dogmen, I know it affected the most. A lot of the nano attacks and all this other stuff. I know they got nailed.
Well, that's why I'm fully convinced that's why they're seen more now.
Mhm. Oh, the dogman? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've tried to communicate with them a little more too. There's been a few that have wanted to talk on some things as well. Um,
Because
but
I've noticed since like the COVID stuff, Dogman got much like there's way more sightings of Dogman.
oh yeah, some of them I found out are military that actually not only either transformed a soldier or they bred them or they captured some and controlled them too. I found out as well. And there's also a type that have like a bulletproof vest on the front. That's a bred one from the programs. They actually created a few of them too. I came to find out the Forest People DNA didn't. They stole theirs too, but it didn't quite pan out. But Dogman, it did, and that's why you have like werewolf soldiers and SSP type. So that's with The Witcher, where you got the school of the wolf, the school.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's what they got the idea for that, and was super soldier. And the mutagens were just the eugenics alterations in the particular person, and the trial of the grasses were like the transformation from regular person to super soldier. And a lot of the times, the person died, and they need children to do it properly. So the same thing within the show, The Boys, where you see
Oh God, that's quite the show.
yeah, we haven't seen it in quite some time, but it's like when they need to transform children, and then Homelander says they were able to transform adults, but it was harder to do, and there were more deaths.
Yeah, Homeland. That whole show is crazy, and
We saw the first season. We haven't seen anything past season one yet. So
oh God, yeah, that show's so degenerate.
probably yeah, I noticed. Yeah.
No, like it gets that stuff. Like wait till you meet Soldier Boy.
Oh God.
That's that's Jensen Ackles' character, the guy that plays like the older brother in Supernatural.
Yeah.
That guy, his character in that is basically Captain America if he was like a Vietnam vet instead of a World War II vet.
Oh God. Okay.
Like he smokes weed like while he's at the shoot for like the anti-drug things. He's just like a straight degenerate, and then I'm not gonna spoil it, but he's a major character's parent, and he's like, "You're a disgrace."
Oh God.
He's like, I can't believe that my own progeny is so weak.
God, that's funny. That's hilarious. We're gonna have to get back into some of these things. We're watching the Dune Prophecy at the moment, which is not bad.
I never got into that Dune stuff. People keep telling me that they think it's good, and I'm just like, I don't like that. The setting doesn't appeal to me.
Yeah, it's weird, but there's no other better example of the Orion like agenda, the eugenics like codex alterations. It's actually accurate 100% in that area. You want an idea of the Orion agenda? That's pretty much it. Is doing with the way they control the genetics, so they control leaders of the great houses and all this other stuff. Yeah, it's actually accurate in that area. The same thing with Hellboy and the Golden Army, where you see the elves controlling the robots, and that's supposed to represent humans being controlled. It's another form of that too, but yeah, or Man of Steel, where they showed the different, like the L were the different families that they were put in casts and all that. Yeah, it's like that.
Fair enough.
Yeah, the whole Krypton thing and the way Krypton was represented in that. But yeah, it's set up that way. I've not found no more other accurate thing than Dune as far as the, the, uh, 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 the code of the Orion agenda, essentially. So. But yeah, started watching that last night, and it's dark as holy hell. But
Oh yeah, like that. Yeah, that's one of those universes that's like everything's bad. I mean, you know about the Warhammer 40K show that they're making, right?
I've heard of it. I don't know the lore behind it though.
Oh my God, that universe. There's nobody good in that universe. There's not one good person in that universe.
Oh
Like
god.
everybody is a shade of gray in that universe, and it's like I can't wait to see it because like Henry Cavill, who's like a huge fan of that universe, is like the executive on it.
Mhm.
And what makes it even better is apparently they were in talks for like 5 years because he wouldn't budge on like one specific piece of the lore that he wants to keep the same. And it was woke stuff, so that's why.
Yeah.
Um, and finally, they like Amazon budged and allowed him to do it the proper way.
Good, because they wanted to add the ideology in there, and he wouldn't let them do it. Pretty much.
What they wanted to do was make Space Marines
Okay.
that
Oh, that are what?
that are women.
Oh, okay.
And the lore itself is like, yeah, no, Space Marines can't be women.
Okay. They wanted to do the whole feminist route with it, and he wouldn't let them.
Well,
Yeah.
no, there is a unit called the Sisters of Battle or whatever, and they can be they are all women,
Hmm.
but like the idea that the main super soldier the super soldiers of humanity can't be women was like anti woke, and they weren't willing to do it, and then Henry Cavill was like, "Well, I'm not going to do it otherwise," and
Yeah. Well,
so
good for him. Good for him that he did that because they're known for screwing up things just to add that ideology in there, and it's like, have you not learned what's happened in the past several years? At all. And
yeah, well, he got it through, so it's a go, and
good.
but yeah, he came right out and was like, yeah, no, they didn't want to do it until I was either gonna. I
Oh.
think it was because of. I think what really sparked it was the Space Marine game that came out this summer
Hmm.
or early fall was such a success, and it like showed that there is a huge market for that universe to be on screen.
Oh, good.
Then Amazon was like, "Well, fuck it, no women Space Marines. Let's get this thing out because people definitely will watch it."
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. Apparently, some of the I know. Yeah, Paramount. Yeah, I believe it was them that put the Halo series out, and they didn't follow any of the lore with that. It was just
Yeah,
like,
but like in the Halo stuff, there is female Spartans and stuff. Like that's fine. They just made like an alternate universe that was stupid.
yeah, yeah. I didn't watch it because I don't want to like pollute my mind with a non-lore, non-canon thing. But yeah, we haven't watched Fallout yet either.
Fallout's good. Fallout's really good.
I heard they screwed some things up with it though.
Well, no, the thing they screwed up was that they wrote the wrong date on a board.
Oh, okay.
Like a date where basically they wrote a date for a major settlement to be destroyed that would have taken place before New Vegas, and Todd Howard had to like literally come out and be like, "Yeah, no, we just wrote the wrong fucking date on the on the board."
Oh, okay. Yeah, and I like during the video game awards, one of them came out and said, "Fans in New Vegas, please don't burn my house down." And
Well, they're teasing that the next season is going to be all New Vegas based.
okay.
In fact, the last shot of the first season is like a distance shot of New Vegas.
Hmm. Oh, hopefully they get it right. They gotta do it right, or people are gonna be pissed. So,
Yeah, people keep. Have you seen the meme that's going around about it? Where it's how there's the Minecraft movie that just came out with Jack Black.
yeah.
It's Jack Black inside like the NCR riot gear armor, and
Okay.
instead of him saying "I'm Steve," he goes, "I'm the courier." Because it's like 10 years after Fallout New Vegas, and so he's like, "Oh, this is what the courier is now. It's Jack Black."
That's funny. That's
Well,
funny.
have you seen Red One, that
Yeah,
Christmas
sounds
film
good.
that came out?
Yeah, that's the one me and Bjorn did the episode, the Christmas episode of GIS.
Oh yeah, you guys did. I just haven't had time to watch it because I've been busy with the holidays and work.
Yeah, we when we switched the name over GIC, this is the new name right here.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, Galactic Interversal Consortium. Other people that I talked to now like the new like to the format GIC was going into, like the Gods and Titans conversations and all this other stuff. And so we're starting out with Galactic Interversal Consortium, and we're going to go that route, but we're just going to start, say, episode 1, GIC, boom, and then go on from there.
Nice.
Yeah. But the Christmas one was the last Galactic Interstellar Council ever. And that's when I said it on the show.
Well, that's good because then you can start fresh in the new year with the new name.
Oh, also that dream I had where I also saw one of the I forgot this part. I saw one of the portals open. So that was those GF guys that put up. Like the rings in Sonic. It looked exactly like that. Or my brain was perceiving it like this. We just saw Sonic 3 in the theater. So, and so.
Oh, how is that?
It's not bad. And there's a lot of disclosure in it too, because the actual race is called Ricarson. Is the name of the race that the Sonic the Hedgehog looks like. So
I didn't know he was considered an alien. I just thought he was like a genetic experiment type thing.
nope, he's an alien. He's an alien in it. And Richie, he communicates with the Ricarsons a lot. So they're around him a lot. So what was I gonna say? Yeah, they communicated with us doing a brief Sonic the Hedgehog show. In that dream, the forest people actually took off through one of those portals, a bunch of them, and wherever they went was on a different world that now some of them could be. So, which I thought was interesting. That's all I know about that.
Oh, to validate more forest people contact came out of the session with Ryan, and Expedition Bigfoot had a marathon on. That was the validation. It was 8 and 9 that popped up in 10, 11. So, yeah. So, it is 10... What is it? It is 4:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Sunday, January 5th, 2025. Thank you. Oh, I'm playing Cyberpunk 2077, and there's another Sasquatch synchronicity. There's a enemy in it that's called the Sasquatch. Don't know what the person looks like. I think they're a big enemy, but another thing that keeps lining up synchronicity-wise, other than the numbers. So it's interesting. So it's 11:47 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Sunday, January 5th, 2025. Thank you. Yeah, the character is a female, a woman that's very, very huge and impossible to do anything to. So, yeah. It's big as a Sasquatch, so the name fits. So, it is 12:01 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday, January 6th, 2025. Thank you.
You know those GF testers that you heard me and Ryan talk about? I'm up to my fucking eyeballs pissed off at them. They went after a friend of mine again. And they're like the Jedi. They're like, oh, you have to detach. You have to remain calm during this. You know, we're just going to turn up the volume. And you just keep failing the test. You just keep failing. They'll let in negative entities and everything. It's like that scene in Good Omens where Seraphil is talking to Gabriel, and this was about Job, and Seraphil keeps going, why do we keep attacking Job? And Gabriel's, we're not attacking him per se, we're just not stopping hell. And I told Joanna, I said, ain't that the fucking truth? Truer words have never been spoken. The Galactic Federation testers, they will constantly test you on a one-trick pony method. This is my opinion, by the way. By which you want to fucking blow your brains out. Like, oh, you weren't supposed to do this, you weren't supposed to react this way, we have to give you a bad mark this way. They're not getting that they're causing more and more stress. Or if they do, then they need to be shot and hung and burned at the stake for this. Because they want the best of the best of the best. And West Point doesn't have anything on these assholes. I'd take West Point over this, where they constantly are constantly testing you, even in the middle of the worst stress ever. And they use the same trick on everybody, and this doesn't work on everybody. Everybody's diverse in their reactions and everything. It's just like in Ahsoka, where Ahsoka wanted her friend to detach from her other friend that was trapped in another galaxy. You don't ask somebody to do that. That you don't completely go cold, heartless. That's evil. If you detach completely, that's evil. I mean, you don't want to have attachments to other people, and you allow splitting of the densities when necessary. But this is just overboard. You know, it's like the Jedi. A Jedi going, "Oh no, you were disrupted by outside stimulus. We'll turn up the volume until you learn that you have to always remain in that calm state." Even the Force people hate that. That's an abuse of the abuse of the calm state. You cannot keep turning up that volume. Michael / Enlil / the Brat / Loki did that shit too. And it was the witch that did it. This, and I know I mentioned the other name, but I gotta tell people who does a lot of this shit, and to not call on them. You know, and the witch also is his name Isis, and we call her Aunt Jemima. But our followers know exactly who I'm speaking of when I use that stupid nickname. So I can't use the original name for that one. That one's worse. Ninlil in the mythology. Look at GIC. Look at GIC.show. Galactic Interversal Consortium.com in the subscription. We talk all about this bitch. So, and her history. And my own history with her. Bad. And I attacked pretty badly. I consider this an attack, so that any GF assholes doing this to anybody, and anybody else experiencing this, let me know if these assholes are doing this. This may require a session to get rid of them, but do not do as they say. You tell them no. Just like I was in I wrote in a book recently. In one of their tests, I was in a classroom with a dark classroom. I was the only one in it, writing on the chalkboard, and old windows, old frames, milky glass windows. Looked like St. Matthias, actually, the school I went to a little bit. Knocked down a wall, saw other students in a laboratory. I knew then. I looked out the window and I knew I was on a spaceship. It was went out. It was a Mercury spaceship, looking one, with wings on the side and such. Came out the side, jumped down into a crowd of people that were going into a school, and then somebody handed me a gun and I started firing at the spaceship, and it crashed into the school. They're like, "Oh, you weren't supposed to react that way, so you failed." Then another one, a more positive one, where well, not a positive one. I had a car stolen from me back in Tempe, Arizona, by a tow company. I wasn't able to get the car registered. I spent like $1,500 on the car, and I couldn't get the thing registered because it wouldn't pass the emissions tests, and therefore I couldn't get a new plate, and therefore the tow people stole it from me. I never got it back. And as soon as I went into this calm state about it, resigning myself to the fact that I would never be able to do anything about it, in a dream state or out-of-body experience, I saw there was a brick wall in my room at the time in the Tempe house. I called it the ketchup packet house because we were so poor. That's what we were eating. We were helping two little kids out get their food. And what happened was I saw this hand come out of the wall, shake my hand, and then show me a sign that said evolution of the species, meaning, oh, you passed this test. Granted, there were negative entities in that house at the time. There was a murder-suicide of a man, woman, and a little child that were in that house, and there was a demon pretty bad in there. But did bozos point that out to us at the time? No. But this was pre-accident, by the way. And yeah, I was sitting babysitting the kids one night, and I saw a kid go. I was looking out the back door, saw a kid go flying into the pool. I went, "Oh no!" The kids got out, and the water was rippling and everything in the pool. Went out there, nothing, and just going flying into the pool. And another incident went out there a much later year. Was at that house looking out a back door in my friend's bedroom. Looked out, and saw a guy out there in ratty jeans and a shirt. And figured, okay, the pool guy's here. Went out to go. The other roommates told me to go check on him if he were there. Went and tapped him on the shoulder. Said, "Hey," turned around. He looked like something out of The Walking Dead. Head was all fucked up and everything. And he turned around and disappeared. This was in the middle of the day. This was like noon, like 11:30, noon, 1, something like that. Yeah, it was creepy. I saw there was like another ghost incident at Hartley where I saw one in the middle of the day in the driveway. But at night, same spot, saw a shadow behind me, cast behind me from the light over the door. Stuff like this. I mean, these are normal paranormal things, but you can tell the difference between that. I shouldn't say normal, but these are paranormal instances. There's a difference between that and the GF testing. GF testing is above board, fucking creepy, annoying, creepy thoughts of series of unfortunate events, things of that nature, like Job level shit. And that's like the angels of the old world type of thing. And it's like I've said, you have the angel of healing, angel of warrior angel, all this other stuff. And what that is, we're just positions on a starship, kind of like the captain, science officer like Spock, security officer like Scotty, and McCoy being the doctor. These were what those angel positions were named for. And the others were Orion, winged Orions, like with the pretty boys, but with wings. And these were their genetic concoctions. They took bird DNA and used it, just like they used lizard DNA. Lizard DNA becomes bird DNA. So, and that's those Pleiadian, negative Pleiadian, also negative Tagetans that have the reptilian DNA spliced. Which is really New Schwabenlander DNA spliced in there, and that's Antarctica garbage. Anyway, we can go into that some other time. The Princes of the Universe. So, yeah, I'm thoroughly sick of it. So, I know I sped through that, but this is, we may retouch on this here at some point soon. If anybody wants that, see that, let me know. Today's the 9th, too. Ironic, because a witch was involved. The 9. Gene Roddenberry channeling the 9 in Earth Planet of Choice. Talked about that in the Gene Roddenberry episode with the 9s and 7s. So, and that's a 907 that popped up on a 909 that popped up on my timer up here. By the way, if nobody sees that. So, it is, and it's all 7, 3, and a 4. 3 and a 4 is a 7. You see 7s and 9s, folks? It's 7:34 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Thursday, January 9th, 2025. 2025 is also a 9. So, it's 7:34 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Thursday, January 9th, 2025. Thank you. Yeah, and I do want to point out that the pretty boy is created by the Orions, a little Orion gray. It was one of the most aggressive, if not the most aggressive gray out there. Created all the other gray types. This will be another show here soon on GIC, rest assured. It is 7:37 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Thursday, January 9th, 2025. Thank you. Also, anybody seeing this, if you have any problems with GF testers, I know the object of a test is you pass the test, they leave you alone. But if it becomes excessive to the point where you're supposed to remain calm no matter what they do, you give them the finger. Normally they would say, "Oh, you just failed. You showed aggression. You showed some aggression." Give them the finger. I have those for sale too, by the way. That whole pile. Anyway, same with the forest people, all that here. Anyway, but just the advice I have: don't allow that. They seem to be stepping it up, and more certain disclosures almost come to pass here, narrative or not, and don't accept that shit. Do not accept that shit. They expect people to exactly know the parameters of the test, even though they don't explain the test. You're supposed to remain calm even in a scary situation, which is under normal circumstances. That's great advice. Now I'm calm always, of course, like what the forest people say. But over excessive testing, it flips it the other way. It's like in Full Metal Jacket with R. Lee Ermey. That scene where that kid got bullied and bullied and bullied and bullied. And he's going insane. You can see that crazy look on his face. And he'd just been beaten up with soap bars in a bag or something like that. And he couldn't take it anymore. And R. Lee Ermey comes walking in there, "Stop, what are you doing?" And then he ends up getting killed by this guy. you do something stupid enough, a crazy is going to come out of the woodwork. I always tell people, you do evil unto others, there's going to be a crazy person that comes around, that wheel comes around, nails you. But that's where I'm at. So it is 7:51 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Thursday, January 9th, 2025. Thank you. Okay, you may have seen in this episode of The World of Sasquatch where I got interrupted in the channeling. And some people think that, oh, you can't snap in and out of that. I can do it fairly quickly in a multitude of different conditions. Some people think that's impossible or some kind of superpower or something. It's like, no, I can snap in and out of it. The thing is, in channelings, also, sometimes the reason I can't answer certain questions is because, say, if they know it and I don't, some people think, oh, why didn't you just let them say it? Yes, but we go halfway, and if then my brain has to try to comprehend what's being said if it's a physics question or something, and sometimes that kicks me out of the channel too. Certain noises will sights. This is why you can't have your eyes open. When I opened my eye a little bit, Forrest opened it. Everything looked like, you know, those hegemogic hallucinations where it's like you're in a paralyzed state and you're seeing those weird shapes and jagged things coming out of objects and tables, like when Elena came to visit me one day when something was messing with my foot, you know, when some aliens were messing around trying to get toxins out of my feet and everything. And there was another one where even AJ on Wi-Fi described it with this old hag incident, but I can describe it as seeing jagged, things are jagged. And yes, you can tell the difference between entity or being and hallucination part. Even coming out of surgery, the anesthetic, I was in one of those hallucinations where I saw my legs were all busted up, and also the doctors all looked like demons. Which, in retrospect, yeah, they acted like that later on, how they treated me later. But maybe I was just seeing their true self amidst the hallucination. I was seeing the true energies. But University Medical Center, Tucson, looking at you. But in this, though, I was seeing my phone. That's why I was fumbling, looking at it, because I was seeing the jagged shit come out of that, and the computer and the people on the computer looked like they were like and stuff like that. So like, yeah, creepy. Joanna kind of looked a little like, and then the hair was all weird and looking and everything. So yeah, it's a very similar, because it's a similar state. It's borderline paralysis. It's kind of in between those. Yeah, in the trance state between alpha and theta. You don't want to open your eyes during that. I try to grab for a cup or something. It's creepy. You don't want to do it. Imagine that kind of sensory overload, times 10, and that's how it is at a conference. So I got to be careful, but or amidst people, I've done that before, and out in public and everything. Outside, it really looks weird. In clouds, trees are jagged and everything. People are like, yeah, no, you don't want to do that. So I thought about chopping that out. I'm going to leave it in, and just so I can explain this a little bit. So yeah, just so people don't think I'm faking it or anything. Because some skeptics will go, wait a minute, channelers can't snap in and out. Yes, you can. It's not advised. You can. It's like driving with your feet. It's not a good idea. But you can do it, or driving with your knees. So yeah, it's more of a vomit moment, actually. So yeah, you don't want to do it. I've tried doing it with the eyes open, but the sensory overload, either there's a lot of sensory overload, or it's just the borderline alpha theta paralysis state where you get the hegemogic hallucination thing. It's like, no. That's more of a barf moment, so no. I figured I would explain that a little bit. It is 9:17 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Thursday, January 9th, 2025. Thank you.
So I do want to say to any skeptic, thinking that, the entities are the same as hallucination. They're two completely different things, but you're not wrong as to what's going on. There's a natural ability, there's a hallucination, but there's something taking advantage in that time, using that to their advantage, and inducing that state that people already can do. So I just wanted to specify that. It is. So it is 9:18 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Thursday, January 9th, 2025. Thank you. Oh, also, what was said in the show about the resources being taken from after the fires? Aliens fighting resources. I found that around the Georgia Guidestones. That there was a hub near there. They were fighting for resources like crystals and such. Diamond deposits, gold. Arizona's another one where we went to Globe and we found out the ICC was working with some aliens there to divvy up the resources. And if you remember right, back in 2021 and 2, the Native Americans were fighting for resources there that they thought were sacred. And the elementals were as well. And when we helped out, we told those aliens, oh, the ICC will fuck you over. They went, oh, okay, we don't want that. And they left. The elementals reward us with $40 on the pavement. It paid for the gas there. There were these little elementals like gnomes that were wandering around, elf-like. And they gave it to us. Also Ashland, or Asheville, excuse me, North Carolina, the hurricanes, Milton and Helene. So, it's mainly Helene, but what happened after is they were trying to mine for lithium resources there. There was a big lithium mine there. What happens is you eminent domain all the resources after it's been destroyed. Well, it's been destroyed now. Just like when the firefighters were trying to get rid of a fire up north in the Dakotas one time, they cut down a line of trees to stop the progression of the fire. And President Bush at the time went, well, you cut that many down, let's just log the rest of that. No. And people showed up, we're president, you're going to allow this. And the fireman basically held an axe to him and said, you're not tearing down this forest. Well, it's an order. Yeah, and you'll be dead. Just like you end up in Washington. There were these fire starter guys that we were told were caught by people up there. And they were just in jeans and flannel. We warned people on the lifting years ago about it. And those episodes are being reposted on the Rebel. And caught about 4 or 5 guys going out in the woods with gasoline and matches. And they were going to start the wood forest on fire. And they're like, well, we can't let you burn down all our homes. And they're like, no, we're the military. We're on an op. You cannot stop us. You're under orders. And they're like, no, we're not allowing you to burn our homes down. And then what happened then is basically it was implied that they dealt with these guys. But there was also a story of a helicopter pilot that was in Asheville that was helping out an elderly couple and had to take the elderly wife and leave the woman's husband and his co-pilot. Well, he took him back one time. He had one of those small choppers. And this guy stops and goes, if you go back, I'll have to rescue those two. I'll have to arrest you. And it was under whose authority? And this was one of those thugs that was working for a mining company, but he was under the guise of a cop. The guy still went back and got his guy and got the person's husband. And this guy tried to arrest him. Didn't quite work. He took him to the ground. I'm a law enforcement officer. No, you're not. No, we're doing your job for you. Well, we're under orders not to do anything. From whom? And that was never made clear. So this reaping and mining of resources constantly happens all over. I just wanted to point that out. So it is 8:58 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Friday, January 10th, 2025. Thank you. Oh, I will say that you have to just look for these resources. Look for the fire starters because they can use an already existing fire to paint it around the map like what was said about Australia and everything. Look for these guys. Keep looking for them. Watch for these patterns, people that don't belong. Not like see something, say something. I'm not saying that. But I am saying within the construct of this knowledge you've been given. Now, look for this. We told people this years ago, and those guys up in Washington were found, and that op was prevented, or that false flag was prevented. And now somebody pulled it with California again and again and again and again. It is 8:59 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Friday, January 10th, 2025. Thank you. Oh, another form of the GF testing, that's more of a make fun of type of thing, is a ridicule type of thing, is in Star Trek Lower Decks, where there was this inspector that came on board and was making all these holographic tests and basically rigged it to where they were impossible, creepy. Like Boimler, you see him trying to get 100% on this test, and he does. But you see, the scene where he's going against the Borg, and and he tries to do all these things to get 100% on the test. He's dragging all these Borg babies around and stuff like that. Oh, it's just hilarious how he's doing it. Where he ends up hitting 100% on it when it was pretty much impossible. Mariner gets one where it's creepy, where everybody's having an orgy and all this other stuff in the holiday. The characters are, and he creeped her out. Like the security officer was running around going naked time and everything. Made it creepy or hard. That was basically making fun of the GF testing methods. I about died laughing when I saw that, because it's like, not only was it funny, but it was the Family Guy meets Trek parody version of GF testing methods. Great. If something is like that, you make it look stupid. Also, I want to point out, I did mention West Point in another recording. I associate it with the Marine Corps. It's the Army. I screwed up on that. So I just wanted to do a redaction correction there. So it is 2:09 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Friday, January 10th, 2025. Thank you. Also, you see other Star Trek tests as well that are similar but more of a kinder version, like Wesley Crusher going through the different tests at the Academy, where he encounters this alien. Where he looks human, but this guy bumps him and goes, "Hey, you bumped into me." And Wesley goes, "No." Wesley confronts him, angrily. And he goes, "I like you, human," because Wesley saw a webbed hand. And the Admiral goes, "Well, why did this happen in this way?" He goes, "Well, they'll know that some races look human, they are far from it. They consider human social behavior, they consider human kindness to be phony social behavior, and they're offended by it. So basically, they want aggression." So, yes, and then there is, what was the other one? Where Riker tests Troy for the command seat, and they simulate a warp core breach of some kind, and she had to order Geordi to his death, the holographic version. And she goes, "Oh, I have to order someone to my death, or to their death?" Because Riker wasn't telling her. He goes, "You can read all the technical manuals in the world. It's not going to prepare you for a situation like this." Also, in the movie U-571, it's the same thing. Bill Paxton's character orders another character to leave him there when the submarine, their original submarine is destroyed, or boat's destroyed. So it's situations like that. There's certain good ones, and there's also ones that go into full-blown martyrdom too. And I don't agree with ordering somebody to their death like that. If it's an emergency that saves more lives, I suppose, but that has to be that person's choice to be able to sacrifice themselves. Like the end of Stargate Atlantis, this one episode where John Shepard flies off in one of the craft into the using it as an explosive to destroy Wraith's ship. He gets out of it, but that season finale made it so that he was sacrificing himself at will. And yeah, it has to be a willful thing, not one ordered. That's my opinion. People in the Marine Corps and the Army and Armed Forces might disagree. Navy might disagree. Marines, Coast Guard. But yeah, it's got to be a choice. Just like serving's got to be a choice. Like when the draft was around, people were leaving the country because the government was making them do it. Oh, it's your obligation. No, everybody acts differently. I even knew a guy that registered his son with the reserve, and the son didn't really want to do it, but he did it because his father wanted him to do. Years later, he died in the Middle East, in Iraq, Afghanistan or Iraq. I can't remember which one. And I ripped this person a new one, basically saying that's your fault. Like, well, no, he did his American duty. I'm like, no, he did what you told him to do. Same with the end of the movie Dead Poets Society. If anybody saw that with Kurtwood Smith and Robin Williams, where it was just Dead Poets Society was just a poetry reading thing, and this society, and this one young guy wanted to be an actor. His father wanted him to be military, wanted him to toughen up. And then they blame the teacher in the end. I hated the ending of that movie. Great acting. All of it, not contesting that. Just like with Dances with Wolves. Great movie, sad as fuck. Dead Poets Society, great movie, sad as fuck. So, Kevin Costner's best on the other, one of his best on the other one, doesn't mean that it isn't sad. Good movie doesn't always mean happy. But Dead Poet Society was a one-timer for me because that Kurtwood Smith's character frustrated the shit out of me. But you get the tactics I'm talking about, and what you heard Ryan say about Michael's tactics, meaning that militaristic, constant testing over and over again until you break. It's got to stop. And anybody hearing this, tell these GF assholes to go F themselves, because each time they do this, I don't care if they think you're barbaric. I don't care how much they guilt you into saying, "Oh, you're just being a barbaric human. You're failing over and over again." Tell them to fuck off. So when they do that stuff, when they do it overboard, I can see how they're trying to form a if they're forming a communication between different races and making you be more diplomatic. But there is a line that yes, there's discipline, but then there's a line that you don't keep going. It's like the end to. Or not the end, but the scene in Full Metal Jacket. I believe I mentioned this before, with the young kid that goes psychotic, and Arlie Ermey's character is going, "Son, what are you doing?" He ends up getting killed. You know, there's a line. Because that kid was getting bullied, he didn't actually need to be there. Because you put people in a situation they don't need to be in, people get hurt. That's that whole DEI crap. That's what the draft essentially was. Sorry, military. When you enact the draft, you're no different than those woke doing the DEI. And that's also Galactic Federation 2. You do not want to do that. There was a scene in Stargate SG-1 where the O'Neill and them go back in time. They encounter a young kid who didn't want to go to Vietnam. He goes, "I don't want to kill anybody. I just want to write music. I don't want to have to go and shoot anybody. So we're going to Canada." You know, and O'Neill was going to say something to him, and Carter basically says, no, he has to make his own decisions in life. We can't influence. And they don't want to alter the timeline, too. But that's that kind of crap. That's that West Point crap. I don't agree with it in every single situation. And yes, this is me saying that some people might be surprised by that. I've done this to people thinking that, you know, like, oh, you have to endure, you have to climb out of it, you have to... Yeah, there's a limit, though. Like, when I was hurt, I did that to myself, and family members brought me out of it. No, you're stronger than this, you're bigger than this, that whole bit. But there is a line where you don't have to keep going. These GF dickheads don't know this, or they don't care. I'm guessing the latter. They want what they want, and that's it. So there are positive tests, and then there are very negative ones that go off a cliff really fast, and it ends up like Full Metal Jacket, that scene. So, guys in the GF, know when to call it quits and know when to communicate differently. You're not winning any awards or trophies or championship belts with us, or myself included, by doing all this. I've had to get rid of this shingles a number of times because that wouldn't stop, and Indrid Cold knew when to stop. Valiant Thor knows when to stop. You guys, those three that were in that scene, you don't know when to stop. Friend of mine elsewhere that's having this kind of harassment, you don't know when to stop. So you're going to be made to stop very quickly. That's my stern warning to any GF testers out there. In the non-humorous way, I am dead serious. So, and I suggest anybody listening to this, you be dead serious with them too. So, and there's a 7 that popped up on there, and a 7 and 4, that's an 11. See, somebody's listening. So, yeah, that's on the clock if you don't see that here, or on the countdown here for the timer for the recording. So it added up to 11. A 9 and then an 11, so yeah, and then a 7. So it is 2:19 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Friday, January 10th, 2025. Thank you. Okay, also this person I said about sending his son into the military and everything, you know, kept trying to argue with me, saying, no, it's the obligation of everybody that they must do this. You know, other countries like Israel have it for at least 2 years to 4 years of service. And I know Lanulos also has workforce for 4 years. And also that future timeline, the DNOC timeline, had 2 years. You know, yeah, I get it, but at least you should choose what you go into. You can't be forced into anything. And he kept telling me, I said, well, you know, everybody is different. He goes, yes, but even the most non-warrior has been known to become one in certain situations. Like, how about not having the certain situations? And this person got so mad at me, like that was a horrible thing to say. How about not having the certain situations? Like I was accusing him of causing it. In some situations, that's true. Our people have caused it, like the Bay of Tumkin, Vietnam. Jim Morrison's father basically fired first. And the Creepy Scenes in the Canyon is the name of the book that this was talked about, that the Vietnam War was planned that way in our disclosure in the media, in the book conversation. So, yeah, this is just how that is. So, and I'm getting kind of brain scrambled, so I'm going to stop. So it is 2:23 p.m. I'm sorry for all the distractions in the background. So it's just daily life in a house. So it is 2:23 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Friday, January 10th, 2025. Thank you.